Going live. You're live.
You're here.
All right. Welcome to us. And wow, you're super hot. I think. Yeah. Caradog is just illuminated by the light of God himself. I'll do, yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. We are now here in 4K, I think.
Maybe. Possibly.
So, yeah.
We'll find out.
If anyone wants to put that to the test, let us know, because we're on the coming on strong there, Neth. Yeah, thanks.
Wow, you're hot! You thought this was Two Guys Talk Tech, but no, it's me, Dio.
Everyone's multiple people are saying 1440p.
Yeah, probably, because
Or is that what you actually set it
probably
to?
YouTube complaining and saying, you do not have enough bitrate.
Maybe, yeah.
It's okay, one day you'll have fibre.
Maybe.
Right?
One day, yeah. All right, fine. Okay, well, here we are at 1440p at any rate, yeah.
I'll steal your details and fix you.
Fair enough. Yeah. We're broadcasting at 4K, but it looks like YouTube is going for 1440p. But oh well. Still, we should be in higher quality. That's the plan, anyway. So yeah. Okay. I'm here. I need to drink this coffee because it's between 3 and 4 o'clock is my mid-afternoon crash, which is why I always get onto the podcast and immediately be like. But yeah. Right. Anyway, we're here. Not enough subs for 4K. That's we're getting there. You know, like actually, yeah. Oh, is this the second channel? Yeah. Don't know. Main channel is growing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All you need to do is click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and you too will receive nothing.
Yeah. However, yeah, I'm just like, I think the 200,000 subscribers will be real. I think I haven't
by 2045.
Well, I haven't looked at projections. You know, like I haven't mapped it out to see like what the ETA on it will be. But I think the channel is in growth at the moment. You know, the subscriber count is creeping up because it kind of hung out at like about 175k for a very long time. And it just kind of leveled out, but you know it's creeping up. We're at 190k, I think. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Lorcan says I just got the new height 70 with the touch screen and such.
And the thick Q60.
Yeah.
Which is approximately thick.
That thick with 2 C's. Thick like oatmeal.
Now, girl, you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you understood that reference. Anyway, yeah, I've still not seen a height 70 in person. I still don't know.
Isn't it also like £300 in the UK?
Yeah, I don't know how much is a height these days, and apparently is a big boy as well. Yeah, I get the appeal of the like. Oh, there we go. Huh. Yeah, oh, there you go, Caradog. Error, you need to change the video resolution. The current resolution, 4K, is not supported for this config. Open widget. The expected video resolution is 1440. Yeah. What does that mean, though? Is not supported for this configuration? Do they just not accept AV1 at 4K?
I don't know. I have to... oh, no, it's the latency setting. I think it's the latency setting.
Yeah. Let's see.
So I think normal only allows you to... Sorry, I think it's only
latency.
normal that allows you to do 4K.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm kind of curious. All right, okay, chat, I need you to be ready.
Normal is 30-something seconds.
Yeah.
Low is 15 and super low is 5 is the YouTube projected latency.
That sounds very pessimistic. I'm going to do a test now. Right, chat, when I say go, I want you guys to say...
Go.
Yeah, so, right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I didn't have a stopwatch. Okay, yeah, JD just said go. So, yeah, that's like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. Normal, I think, is going to be like 10 seconds.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we could drop to normal, but I don't know. 10 seconds starts getting a bit long in the tooth. 5 seconds is cozy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, I vote we just aim for 1440p.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 4K is nice for the.
They'll give us a 4K VOD, probably.
Interesting. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah.
Stats for Nerds says 6.6 seconds. There we go.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there you go then. Yeah. Yeah. Like like it would be cool to do the 4K stream just for the flex value, because the thing is, like, no one wants the ball ache of streaming at 4K, but also that's just because most streamers have not tried to stream at 4K and just don't know much about the setup and the tech for 4K streaming. So to that extent, I'm kind of glad that we're actually experimenting with that to see what, how well that works out. But yeah, and as Stevie says, don't bother, I've got you running as a smallish window on my second monitor anyway. Exactly that, But then that much being said, we got some viewers who watch this on a TV, so you are valid. I see you. Watchers from beyond the veil. But I don't know where I was going with this conversation. At any rate, 1440p would be completely fine. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, was mortified to find out that Doom: The Dark Ages won't run on my 750 Ti. Outrageous. Built-in obsolescence.
I was shocked to find out that my 9070 XT can't run Doom: The Dark Ages on high at above 120 FPS. I demand a refund on this free game.
This free game? Are you playing it on Game Pass or something?
Yes, it's on Game Pass.
Oh, neat. Fair enough. I still need to play Doom Eternal. But yeah.
Have you considered
playing Doom Eternal?
Playing any of the games on your game list?
I've had Doom Eternal installed for like a year, taken up like 200 gigs.
Oh my god,
something.
you even own it. That makes it worse.
Yeah, I bought it and I bloody installed it. I was like, I'll install it so it's ready to go. But every time I'm just like, or I could play a game that I've played before.
So what you're saying is you're going to start streaming it on Sunday week?
I suppose I probably should. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Runs great on your 4080 Super, but I feel suitably dirty. How so? Owning a 4080 Super is fine. Like, I would feel a little bit dirty if I owned a 50 series, but then that much being said, I mean, I overheard someone say they got a 50 series for MSRP last night, and I didn't drill for more information on that, but I had no reason to disbelieve them either.
Yeah.
But yeah. On the other hand, though, this was like this was on VR chat, and whenever I'm on VR chat and I overhear people starting to talk tech stuff, I try to deliberately steer away from the conversation because you'll start hearing people saying stuff that's just wrong, and then you have to come and I don't want to spend my Friday afternoons actuallying people. I'm just like, no, I'm not at work. No, I'm going to go and talk to someone else. So yes.
So Blender.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then also like I overheard someone saying I was overhearing someone talking about VPNs, and they're like, oh, well, they're tracking your IP address, and I'm just like, only if you're using a really shit VPN. But then, in order to explain why that's wrong, you then have to explain protocols and how if you're using a really crap VPN, then yeah, your VPN will have your IP address. But if you're using a good VPN that uses the modern protocol, what's it called again? The one where the VPN service doesn't have your thing.
Yeah, I can't remember because there was a replacement subsequent to WireGuard.
Oh, WireGuard was what I was thinking of. Yeah, has WireGuard been replaced again already or something?
Or there was an enhanced version of it or something. Yeah.
Either way, yeah.
But it's a constantly moving target of how do we make this better.
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
Because
yeah. Suffice to say, if your VPN is logging your IP, then you've got a bad VPN. So yeah.
OpenVPN is bad because OpenVPN as a standard hasn't been updated in like 10 decades. Because everyone who cared moved on to like WireGuard and so on.
All right. Yeah, Stevie says it feels dirty because Nvidia. Yeah, well, I'm running a 4080 and I don't feel dirty.
It's
because
okay. I'll upgrade you.
AMD release a new flagship and I'll buy it. I'll commit. I'll commit to that.
Only 12 to 18 months after release.
Well, no, seriously. If AMD release a new flagship, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to make sure we're clear on this, a new flagship, and by a flagship I mean it needs to comfortably go toe to toe with a 5080.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for 5090 speeds because, that's a Halo tier product.
Yeah.
I class flagship as the 80 class, and the 90 class is a Halo product. That's not a good value proposition. That's money is no object, So yeah, if AMD release a card that actually and obviously we've seen the 9070 XT give the 5080 a black eye in Doom Dark Ages, didn't it?
Yeah,
But that's an outlier though. You know, that's because Nvidia's drivers are broken right now.
Also, if you play lots of Call of Duty, you'll always want an AMD graphics card because the 9070 XT is faster than the 5090.
Ouch. Yeah, but the problem is,
in my cherry-picked benchmark, it's better. Therefore,
don't get me wrong. I would love to buy a 9070 XT. Because you can find them for reasonable money. You can find them for around 700. I think we decided, didn't we?
Yeah, about 660 is what I'm seeing them.
That's it.
That's regularly being around there.
In this current climate, that's fine. It's not great, but it's not terrible, especially compared to the state of Nvidia at the moment. However, I would be getting maybe a side grade from my 4080. So it's a case of.
I went to look at something else, saw a message I got, and was just like, I see. I will deal with you later.
Very well. So I'm not. I'm not interested in making a side grade from my 4080. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yes.
eBay.
Yeah.
eBay.
But however, as JD said, they can't release it as discussed prior. Yeah. So the issue is that we're not going to see a new flagship from AMD because they're the chiplets that they use to build the 9070 XT won't scale any higher. They need to design a new chiplet to make a faster graphics card.
Technically, it isn't a chiplet. It's the way because it is monolithic.
Oh,
all of them are monolithic, but it's a case of the way the chip is designed.
Yeah.
It is able to be tiled.
Yes.
They have already tiled it by doubling it to make the 9070 XT.
Yeah, so the
and they
tiles
would have to
won't
actually
scale
go
any
to
further.
you'd actually have to go to 4 cores to get anything more than a 9070 XT, and your efficiency on scaling is probably 0. It might be great for AI.
Yeah.
So we might see like a professional one, maybe, for like $200,000 redos with like 96 billion gigabytes of RAM. But
it's not going to be a gaming graphics card though. Yeah. So that's the thing.
But if AMD wants to send me one.
Sure. Yeah. JD also said, did you contact the CNC? I did reply to the CNC people.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, I was just like, yeah, sure, because it was kind of fortuitous that email came in after we were discussing it literally last week.
Yeah.
While I don't think anyone watches this show at all, it was very convenient timing.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been offered, what was it again? Email. I was offered a desktop CNC machine. Let's see. It was.
Where did you mention this? Was this?
I mentioned it in the exclusive chat. However, I've been offered the Carvera Air, a compact, versatile, and user-friendly desktop CNC machine designed for creators, makers, and engineers alike. It's a Kickstarter project, apparently. I've not looked at the Kickstarter, but apparently it was a successful Kickstarter project, and based on me just quickly Googling, Carvera Air and stuff, sentiment around it seems to be, it's pretty good. It's a CNC machine that costs $2,000, which is pretty great, you know.
Yeah, it's a simple 4-axis one, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think, yeah. No, I was about to say I've heard terms like 2.5D thrown around for depending on how many axes you have and stuff like that. So like this isn't calling it a CNC machine is fairly is gilding the lily a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's an automatic milling machine, you know. So yeah. Is that a Z Fold 6 on the table?
3 mainly, but there's a 4-axis upgrade for it. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's it.
That's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. However, it's $2,000 and it's the size of a 3D printer, you know. Well, a big 3D printer, but still, it would fit on the it would fit on the desk.
Yeah.
And
I demand meter by meter bed area.
Yeah, I think the bed area on it isn't particularly huge, but like we were talking about being able to custom make replacement mounts for CPU coolers and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you know, suddenly this drops in. I'm just like, yeah, like I could make a video about that and be like, cool. So, you know, we want to do this. The 3D printer can't really cut it for this because plastic's just not strong enough. But now I can do an AM4 conversion for that Zalman cooler that I showed in the last stream. Yeah. You know, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And while, you know, I don't know how many people are going to go out and buy one of these based on my video, it's an interesting point. And yeah, I do want to expand the machine shop tooling that I've got available here just so I have the ability to do cool stuff. It's a desktop CNC. That's the class of product. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So yes. Yeah, it's 30 centimeter by 20 centimeters. So yeah, the bed area is not huge, but yeah. So yeah, so that might be interesting. And yeah, G-code running device. Yes. One of the problems is that if I'm probably going to have to actually learn Fusion 360 if I want to make stuff for it. I don't think I can plumb a Blender model into the software for it. But I would love to try.
I'm just imagining you doing a video of you blendering something, putting it into the thing, and then everyone in the comments just being, "Hey!"
I'm going to try because I'll make people really angry by using Blender. Like people get pissy with using Blender for 3D printing, and I'm like, it works, because that's just how badly I don't want to learn actual CAD software. So yeah. Just zipping through a couple of things. Reparati Phone says, what does Caradog do? Caradog works in an office.
I employ people.
Yeah, he has people.
They do things.
Yeah. That's all. How's the leg doing? It's okay. Good days and bad days. I think it's on the mend. But it's hard to it's difficult to consider something being on the mend when you're still in pain, kind of thing, you know. Right now it's okay because you know the afternoon ibuprofen has kicked in, you know. But yeah, I think it's getting better, but there are good days and bad days. Apparently the battery's not very good on the Z Fold 6. How do you find the battery on your phone?
Fine. Yeah. Solidly fine. Like, it doesn't have the benefit of being a tablet.
Yeah.
Because obviously in a tablet you put in like a 10 amp hour battery.
Yeah.
Because it's just a slab like this.
Yeah, so you can fit a massive battery in there.
So obviously you end up with ridiculously good battery life because it's just a slab of battery.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously this is a phone that does that. But yeah, I have no problems with it.
Yeah. Do you know what size the battery is in there?
About that big.
Thanks. Yeah, chat. What size battery does the Z Fold 6 have?
Hold on. There you go. There's a photo of it. If you need a little photo of it, it's that big.
Look at you with your heckin' D brand. Is it actually a D brand or is it a knockoff D brand?
No. What do you take me for?
As someone who pays 50 quid for a sticker, but yeah.
It wasn't 50.
It was
109.
70. Was it actually?
No.
Good. Like I wouldn't have been surprised if you said that was £109 for your D brand wrap. I'd have been like, I'd have believed you, you know. 4400. Oh yeah. That's not massive. So yeah, I can see what you mean.
It's also massive in something that is that thick.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's holy crap. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. The way I had the Pixel Fold. It's a. This
is a Pixel.
Yes.
This is a Pixel 9.
Yes.
Pro.
Yeah.
Fold.
Sorry, it's not. What's the Z Fold? Is that the Samsung?
That's the Samsung.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the Google folding phone.
This is the Google one.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
But yes.
Yes.
Do.
Yes. 3-screen phone. Yes. I want the 3-fold. I want the Huawei XT, the 3-fold.
God. Pearl says apparently I've got a 9950X 3D. I don't, but haven't had an AMD system in many years. No regrets. Really like your V Pod. Okay, I'm interpreting this as you have acquired a 9950X 3D, which is your first AMD processor in a long time, and it's great. Cool. I hear it's a savage CPU. I would like one, but I cannot justify buying one. So yeah.
I mean, you could do.
Yeah. I don't need it. Also, my workflow doesn't scale at the moment.
Who said anything about workflow? Who said anything about needing it?
Yeah.
You said justifying it.
Yeah.
I'm always capable of justifying hardware purchasing.
True. Yeah. Anyway. Do you take walks and stuff? Yeah, I walk to and from work. I've also recently got my bike out, and I haven't started. I'm going to go on a ride this week. Well, possibly this weekend, just depending on how time goes, because my Sunday has unexpectedly become busy.
I unexpectedly have to deal with family.
Just barbecue with friends. People are just like, we're doing a barbecue this weekend. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll come. Yeah. So yeah. However, yeah, I got my bike out, and I pumped up the tires on that, so that's actually ready to ride now. Because I haven't been out on the bike in a long time, so that's the plan. So yes. Yeah, what happened to the update as well? Because apparently the Google update broke your phone. I take it that rolled.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the beta. It's the beta.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so
you're on a beta. That's
it's expected to be broken.
Okay, yeah. I was surprised when I heard that. Yeah, but
yes. Did I not say the latest beta? I meant to say, if I did not say in the message where I said...
If you did say that,
it's broken.
Didn't see that.
Okay, yeah. But it was basically a case of where you'd open the phone and just the front screen would stay on and the internal one wouldn't. I was like...
Yeah.
But yes, restarting the phone fixed it.
Oh, I see. Fair enough. Yeah, that was simple.
Literally just doing a reboot again fixed it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
you confused little device.
Me says that bike just exasperates the pressure on the spine. I don't know about your experiences. However, I've had numerous people who have had exactly the same condition as me say that biking helped them out a lot. Yeah. I don't know about your experiences. However, other people I've spoken to who have had exactly the same condition as me have said biking helped a lot. I highly recommend getting out on your bike. So,
sorry,
yeah.
I very much solidly have the bike is short for bicycle meme in my head, and I was just like, oh, no, come on, we're being sensible here.
Caradog's much louder than Graham, apparently. I'm in the mid-yellows, and say some stuff.
But...
Oh, yeah. Oh, you are louder, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to pull a couple of decibels out of you. Yep. 10? What did I set me to then? 8? Yeah, alright. Yeah, we found some extra volume and we don't know where from. Because we changed profile, just everything has gone slightly wonky. But yeah.
18.
Whoops. Alright, there we go. Okay, that's going to clip anyway, but...
Yes.
Okay, right, I've pulled some volume out of Caradog. All right. Yeah. Anyway. So that's that.
Would you buy a 7900 XT Sapphire reference model for 700 USD new? No. No.
No?
No. Because it's the reference model, and the reference model was loud from my memory. If the Sapphire reference one is still the same one.
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah.
Also, was that USD?
Yes.
That was USD.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because I was going to say 700 USD for a 7900 XT. I feel like that's probably about par for the course right now.
Yeah. But
So
it was more just the specific model.
Yeah, because I think they cost about I think they cost about 700, 750 British pounds at the moment. So 700 USD sounds pretty decent to me.
Oh yeah, I forgot the US market is also just a mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably actually going to be a reasonably good deal.
Yeah,
because I keep forgetting how much a mess America is.
That's it. Like, it might not be the quietest card in the world, but I feel like that's a lot of graphics card horsepower for 700 USD. So yeah. Okay. Anything new and cool in Android 16?
Absolutely no idea.
No.
Genuinely haven't noticed anything.
Anytime my phone upgrades with a new Android version, I don't notice the difference.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then phones don't excite me, so...
If you're willing to go pre-owned off of eBay, you can get an ASRock Phantom Gaming for 600 USD.
Huh. That's not bad, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, consider second-hand, perhaps. You can find nice ones there. But, yeah, good to know.
Or you can get a Yeston Sugar for 1,200.
Yeah. That's the word about coil wine. You got a 4070 Super. Coil wine just seems to be luck of the draw. You know, I suppose there are some cards that are notorious for having a lot of coil wine. But, like, all graphics cards have some wine to them, and it just seems to be just luck of the draw, I think, in my experience. I don't think, I don't think you can bet on the state of coil wine, you know, so yeah. Alright, I think I'm going to go and get some bits and pieces, because I've got a customer build to do, which was what the headline topic was all about today.
Very well. But yes, going back to what I was saying about randomly seeing 9070 XTs on UK eBay for like less than they're selling for.
Yeah.
Like from Scan or whatever. Yeah. £634 and 2 pence. Power Color 9070 XT Red Devil.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
634.
Yeah, that's cozy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You can even collect it from Dunstable if you so wish.
Awesome.
That does require going to Dunstable.
Yeah, I was going to say I have no concept of how far away Dunstable is. Aren't they somewhere near Manchester or something?
It's an way away, but yes.
Yeah. Very well. Is it the previous stream build you made for a customer? No, it is not. So we're not building the AMD build that we spec'd last week. However, that did get greenlit today, with a couple of minor changes. The customer increased the budget, so we swapped the graphics card out to. I think I'm going to put in a. I think I swapped out to a 7900 GRE, but I've not ordered it yet, because I wanted to sit down and like double check before I ordered a 7900 GRE, because I think that came in cheaper than a 9070 XT, and the 7900 GRE trades blows with the 9070 XT, I think, doesn't it? And the 7900 GRE is about 100 quid cheaper.
The major benefit for me is the fact you get all of
the new ray tracing stuff.
Yeah.
However, it's another £100.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is
and if the budget isn't there for it, then that's the problem. Is like I think it's reasonable to say to someone building for themselves, spend another 100 quid and get a 9070 XT. However, if we do, the customer came and said, I could probably stretch to 1300, and I just immediately banged up to 1300.
Yeah.
Like,
No, indeed. I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. 9070 non-XT should be around the GRE. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, might be worth getting a 9070 vanilla then. Yeah. Yeah. I'll double check that before I actually
That's kind of why I was like, because I wasn't sure, but I was just like, are we sure? Because I thought the 9070 XT and the 7900 XTX were loosely interchangeable.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll double check it. Yeah, I thought I thought they were trading blows with the GRE. However, I'll go back and check it though. Yeah. Will the power supply be good enough for the GPU?
Yeah, because it's a 650
Yeah,
watt.
650 we ordered, so yeah, we're fine. Because the CPU, decent 650 watt. 300 watts for the graphics card, 200 watts for the CPU, which it's not using, and you're still only at 500 kind of thing. So, yeah, it's fine basically. Yes. Okay. Opinions of cats sleeping directly on top of computers. I wouldn't. They'll fill unless. Well, I mean, if you're cleaning your computer out now and then, it's fine. Basically, it's going to fill the computer with cat hair. So yeah. But like, if you clean out your computer, it's fine. But just obviously bearing in mind, even if they're on top of it where the exhaust is, the problem is they're going to shed hair that's going to get pulled into the intake fans. But as long as you're cleaning out your filters, you're fine. I'm going to start grabbing bits and pieces.
Very well. Hawaii 5A.
I don't know why that popped into my head. I'm going to kick you over to the other side end of the counter.
Shan't. Okay.
And I'm going to get more bits. Anyway, yeah. So
I'm going to disappear behind this massive monitor. Goodbye.
So this is a customer build. This is a customer that comes to me every couple of years when they're getting a new computer, and they generally spec and order their own parts. So this is a case of the customer rocked up with a box of components and said, "Here's my new PC. Can you build it for me?" So yeah, this is a customer spec build. I'm going to move that up to there.
Yes. Oh, I have to say, 4K at 32 inches does look good.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice and readable. It's a lovely screen, that.
Yes.
Yeah.
In answer to your question, the GRE is about 16% slower than a 9070.
Oh, okay.
According to Tech Power Up, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Fair enough.
Well, we're going to judge him, indeed, JB.
Yeah.
But we will judge you too. Where then bench results?
Yeah, well, we're building with a 14600K, so
Excellent.
yeah.
What's the motherboard? Because I'm going to grab a BIOS update.
Okay, the motherboard, right.
That's not a motherboard.
No.
It's an 8 gig
Yep.
graphics card.
Oh no, they bought the 8 gig.
Before you open that, genuinely advise them to send it back.
Oh, I don't think they're gaming on it, but we should probably check.
That doesn't
Also,
matter.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
It's an 8 gig graphics card.
Yeah. We'll put a placeholder in for now.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll put a placeholder in. Because, it's the 8 gig. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think they're using it for gaming. This is one of those. Right. Sorry, I'm just checking because they've put name and address on all of these boxes, so I actually need to pay hyper attention as I'm putting boxes on the table. So that's going like that for a sec, just so I can put it down.
Do you know what you could do? If I put that like that,
Yes.
you can now place the items behind that box.
Yes. Right. Okay. Right, there's the motherboard. It's a B760 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi.
Excellent.
Right, what was I also needing to grab? Oh yeah, we're going to need like bench cam and stuff like that.
Gaming plus Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think this is being used for gaming. I think this is one of those customers who builds gaming PCs for high-end office work, so to speak. Because
I just
which sounds bizarre, but also like having a fast computer is good for productivity.
yes.
So yeah, I don't think the graphics card actually matters that much. So I think they just bought whatever the 60 class graphics card was. But unfortunately, yeah, this is the problem. Is these days everyone loves Nvidia, so they went for Nvidia, which is very reasonable. But oh, how the turns have tabled in the past sort of 18 months or so, you know. So yes.
Open. Oh yes, I love my Fujibafusurier update.
Oh yeah, it's the Lenovo one.
Yes.
Okay, right. So we've got one of those. Okay, so yeah, I think, to be honest, I think the graphics card is the only part of this, because like a lot of people are going, ugh, Intel, but like it's fine.
What is it?
It's a 4600. It's 14600K, which is fine, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like again, I wouldn't be building Intel in 2025, but it's fine.
I would for some of the prices I found.
That's it. We had this conversation last week. Is that like how much is a 14600K going for right now? When you actually factor in the
Oh yes, I thought that was a 4060 Ti. Thank you, JD, for actually being capable of reading.
Yeah, and also so yeah, like that's the other thing is we'll have a look. This might be what's interesting, because when this stuff came in, I saw Intel and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, that's going to be an interesting conversation, because this build is going against the meta right now, because people don't like Intel and people don't like Nvidia. So let's actually justify this build. Let's play devil's advocate here and go, actually, here's why this is fine. So yeah, let's see. Let's actually spec this up. If my memory serves me, the customer said that they pay. I can't remember if they said. I think they said 1,200 was their budget on this build. So yeah, I think they said 1,200. Now I think they've probably overspent a little bit. In fact, at 1,200, I think they might have overspent a lot. But let's just see if we can figure out where the money went. I think there's a few bits that are missing here as well, and a few bits that might have been more expensive than they needed to be. So it's fine.
A box of fans.
Okay, I'm going to start peeling labels off of things just so I can, just so I don't have to dodge everything. Right.
Judge them for a RAM kit. What is the RAM kit?
6400 CL36. So,
yeah, it's
It's
fine.
fine. Corsair RAM. Ew. The brand doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Slowly peeling off.
5070 Ti versus 9070 XT. Which one and why? Depends on the price in your region, is my genuine answer to that, because you can go either way. The 9070 XT in raw performance is about 5% slower than the 5070 Ti. However, if it is 5% cheaper in your region, then that makes it equal value.
Yeah.
In theory.
This is
the benefit you have is DLSS 4 has wider adoption than FSR 4. So for upscaling stuff, you have more support, more games supporting the newest, best looking version. Therefore, that in theory gives value to the Nvidia product over the AMD one.
Yeah.
It depends on whether you want to make a kind of a quote unquote moral choice and go, well, I'm buying the AMD card because it's not Nvidia.
Yeah.
Which is a grounds that you could be purchasing a card on, given the current market.
Yeah. The actual cost of the product is a massive factor here, because you know, this is the thing, is that the well of discussion is poisoned by the wonky pricing.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people will be pricing based on the MSRP, and it's just like the MSRP is a fake number. So, yeah.
Yeah. I would probably take the 9070 XT because I've had fewer AMD GPU issues than I've had NVIDIA issues in the past 5 years.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that the NVIDIA driver issues seem to be very real right now as well.
But it's also the case of, there's also the fact of just the NVIDIA drivers at the moment for a lot of people seem to be flat out broken.
Yeah, it's extremely funny that after years of everyone railing on AMD drivers, when actually they were fine, now we've come to the point where everyone's beloved NVIDIA drivers are not fine,
Yeah. So it's a case of it depends on what your choices are, kind of thing, by market. So yeah, but I would generally suggest people towards the 9070 XT in the UK market. Put a piece of tape over the top of it.
Could do. Yeah, that's fine. This is the last one.
Oh yeah, just if it wasn't, I didn't see how many rips it had.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. There is an odd selection of items here, I would say. Slightly. Or is that the shift? Oh no, I thought this was a shift for a second.
No.
And I thought they bought the shift power supply. And I was just like, but why?
No, thankfully not. Right, and then the case, we've got an NZXT H7 Flow.
It's a big case.
Yeah. So yes, excessively large case, but still, it's a nice case.
Yes. Boutier to moyenne ATX avec circulation d'air.
Circulation.
Circulation d'air.
Yeah. So yes. So one of the things that I've noticed, so we have got a 2 terabyte SSD there, and I know that they've also got another 1 terabyte SSD that they said they were going to drop in at the start of the week. That's still on order. So yeah. But yeah, also there's a couple of other odd choices. Like we've got a box of Arctic fans here, and I'm just like pretty certain this is going to have fans.
I think the was it H5 and H7 they did? I think there were 2 versions, one that was fanned and one that was fanless.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll check if it has fans in it or not then. So yeah,
that's possibly.
I might. So yeah, what I'll do, I'll put this all on the floor right now. Let's bust the case out.
Yes.
And by let's I mean I'll bust the case out.
Fabulous. Glad you agree.
Whoop.
I will.
What the hell is the Phantom Spirit?
I will.
Oh, yeah.
Obtain a managerial position.
Yeah.
Yes. Good.
Doing a good job there. Yeah. Inspirational.
Yes. Heart touching. Soul warming.
Rock solid, heart touching.
Solid as a rock. Anyway. This time you can do the work and I'll be sat here drinking.
I support this.
I might even pay attention to chat every now and then.
Yeah, you do actually have to pay attention to chat.
Cheers, Mr. Monaco. You're welcome.
Right, I'm going to make a lot of noise, so sorry, everyone.
The polystyrene has been attacked.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that might have just been me catching it on the edge as it was coming out. Right. Do you want to open the camera controller as well, just so that's ready to go?
Insta 360 link, not the Insta link.
360 link Insta Pro. Whew. I will turn it over. I can't remember if I've built in one of these modern NZXTs or not. I'm sure I've seen one, but I can't remember where now.
Oh yeah, the other wonderful thing about going to 4K, the blimmin' thing doesn't take up 97% of the width of the screen. Says actually resolution here.
Yes. Right.
Oh, the power supply sideways.
Ah, yes.
I'm also not seeing a fan. Oh no, there's some in the front.
Thank you.
Oh! Stab him with the cardboard.
A one-shot wonder of Arctic MX6. Where did you come from? I think I must have brushed that off the end of the counter. Okay, right.
Oh, that is a size.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's a large case. It doesn't. I say that's fairly space efficient, to be honest, because this has got a large internal space, but it hasn't got a lot of outer stuff to it.
Yeah.
And so, like, honestly, I think this is a big case done right, because one of the things I don't like about my my Fractal Torrent is my Torrent is a big boy case. But
Yeah.
one of the things that makes it seem so huge is that it's got a lot of exterior plastic around it. There's a lot of cladding over it that makes the case like a good 2 inches larger on all dimensions without adding to the internal space. Whereas this is a tin box. So, you know, like the back of the case is the back of the case is there and the front of the case is there, you know. So like just straight away, yeah, it's a big case, but it's not it's actually a space efficient big case. So yeah, I don't hate it.
It's a space efficient big box.
Yeah. How
Hello,
does
people.
There we go.
Things, stuff.
Cool. I should probably put the case to one side for now and just start building up the motherboard, I think. Which I might do. I'll just take bits out of here first. Right, I'm just going to take the accessory box out.
You're my accessory box now.
Oh. Do I actually need to... Oh, there's no thumb screw for the rear drive cage. It's got just a Phillips screw on it. However, it does actually take 3.5-inch drives on this rear drive cage, which is decent. Although that much being said, there's no room for 3.5-inch drives. Yeah, there's 2.5. What a strange layout. Like, it's valid, but if I turn it around, we've got a 2.5-inch drive cage down here and 3.5-inch drive cage straps onto the back, which is kind of like the other way around. It's odd.
Bizarro.
Whew. Right. The cooler we've got is a Thermalright Phantom Spirit 120 SE. It looks like this. It looks like the Assassin Spirit, but Thermalright have got a lot of coolers that all have. They just keep using different combinations of Assassin, Spirit, and Phantom and stuff.
The Phantom Assassin Spirit.
Yeah, so like there's a Phantom Spirit, there's a Spirit Phantom, there's an Assassin Spirit and an Assassin Phantom, and you know, you get the idea. So
The Phantom Spirit.
yeah, they've got a decently sized cooler is the important thing. I'm going to put this drive cage back on. Now I've taken the accessory kit off of it. Alright, that's fine. I'm going to put the case to one side and we'll build up the motherboard.
I think that goes the other way around.
Yep, I think you're right. Bang.
Plonk. You can't keep a good assassin down.
Right.
What we English. Where is your BIOS flashing pen drive? You broke the packing.
I'll break you in a minute.
You will try.
My flashing flash drive is not in front of the desk where I thought it was. So I will grab another one. I would say use...
Plug it into the computer.
Yeah.
I will give you a BIOS.
This'll do. Because I don't know what this is. Therefore, it is now going to be a BIOS drive.
It is untitled HP firmware recovery.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's just BIOS then. Whoop.
No, I do not wish it to be exFAT. Thank you.
That'll probably do.
Untitled Project 1. Untitled Project 2. Format
Right.
complete. There you go. Done.
Is Graham releasing any more of his excellent fix videos? Yeah, there's one a week. And there will be another one this week.
Graham will be fixed.
Yeah.
This week in.
Yeah. I was going to make some kind of joke of X can fix me, but I'm
X gonna deliver it to you.
that not that X. I would not want to be fixed by that X, but anyway, bench cam.
I'm just gonna... Yes.
God, I'm really tired. Also, oh, do we not have a bench cam? Okay, yeah, that's fair.
No. I just needed to actually select the device.
I see, yeah.
But instead of going to a black screen...
Come out of that. Deactivate. So the camera was making a very unhealthy noise there. I was like, turn it off. Yeah. Yeah, so the camera was straining on its gimbal there, and just whatever it was trying to do, the camera did not want to do that. So yeah.
I have selected another device.
All right, there we go.
Who am I, where am I, and what am I doing? Right. So if I now select it again...
All right, that seems happy. Yeah, so then just pitch down, yeah.
There we go.
Good.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Huh.
Transition. Pow.
Right.
There you go. The motherboard.
Wow. Cool. Right, let's get this board built up. Opinions about BWE? It seems like the internet is better off without him. I was not paying a lot of attention to it, but I watched the Lewis Rossman video. I'm not going to go into the details because it's not exactly table conversation. Suffice to say, the internet is better off without him. And so yes. And by that I mean it looks like he is now gone from the internet and we are better off without him. That is all. I also wish good luck to the coder and his collaborators for working on open source version of the software that BWE was previously working on. So yeah, it sounds like they're making good with the boost that they're getting from Lewis Rossman. It sounds like they're getting a lot of boost into getting that software up to date, so people will have a better open source version of the software, which is good. So that's a better overall result, because obviously it was a tool that people valued. So it's a case of, okay, well, we don't like the person who made it, but it's a tool that people obviously wanted or needed.
Yeah.
Could you nudge the camera up on the tilt to the pan left slightly, and then just press the right arrow? There you go. That's better. So yeah, but thankfully they're working on an open source one, and apparently that's making great strides. So that will be good. So that's the bit. That's the outcome that I think people should focus on. Is that a better alternative to a bad paid-for tool has now been is now being sorted. So yeah. Right. Lewis Rossman gone from the internet. I don't always agree with Rossmann. However, he did a judicious takedown in this instance. So yes, that is all. Anyway, I'm going to move on because, as I say, this conversation does not go into table conversation territory. So yeah, if you know, you know. So yeah, right. Next up, we've got
Is that P41?
P44.
Oh, it's the P44.
Yeah, solid IGM. I'm not
Solidim.
Good, we weren't on camera then. Yep, that's fine. Surprise customer data jump scare. Like this box didn't have customer data on it, so I opened it up, took the box out that was inside. The box inside had customer data on it. I was like, oh no! Good grief. Actually, I'll just open this to one side. All right. Anyway, in goes this SSD just because it's what's in my hand.
Yeah, the Solidim P44 and the SK P41 seem to be kind of the high-end drives to buy at the moment.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah. So yeah, decent SSD. As I say, they have another 1 terabyte on the way because the internet told them that it's good to have your data and Windows on separate drives, which is just like, yeah, it's not something that I would be particularly worried about, but it's not incorrect. And like, this is where the conversation about customer spec builds like this comes into play. Is when you look at the decisions that have been made with this computer, none of them are wrong, but you can see where this is fueled by information found on the internet, but not by people who actually build computers for a living, kind of thing. And this is where I think that PC building conversations get really interesting. Is like, yeah, putting your data and Windows on 2 separate drives, that is technically faster. Does it actually matter in the real world? No, not really.
Yeah, depends what you're doing with the data.
Yeah, and it's like, the decision to go for an NVIDIA graphics card in the current climate is because people still have a phobia of AMD graphics cards. But for the past 18 months, it's been just objectively a better idea to buy an AMD graphics card,
Yeah.
And I'm saying the 18 months is depending on who you ask, AMD have probably been a better choice for longer than that. But certainly right now, they're the better choice, But loads of people online will still be like, well, you better get an NVIDIA just to be safe, So, nah. But that's the thing. There's nothing here, apart from an 8 gig graphics card in the year of our Lord and Saviour 2025, there's nothing here that's just flat out bad, And again, the Intel choice, this is born of people who just have still only ever used Intel for the past decade, who just stick with what they know, even though Intel have not been competitive for quite a while now, But unless you're actually building PCs, that might not be something you've actually paid attention to,
Yeah.
But at the same time, so yeah, how much does a 14600K cost at the moment? Because that's the thing. Like we say,
how much does it cost, or how much does Scan charge for it? Because you can get them off of AliExpress for like 140 quid.
The customer didn't buy this from AliExpress.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Which answer do you want?
Sure. Retail then, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Scan then, yeah.
That's got a plus in it. That's not going to find a CPU. 214.
214.
215.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So what?
Which I'm guessing is about slightly less than 7,700 off of Scan.
Yeah. So
about the same price as 7,600 off of Scan.
Yeah. Okay. And so a 14600, that's probably going to go. That's probably going to go toe to toe with a 7600 then, isn't it? Or a 7600X. Yeah, something like that.
I'd expect the 70s. From memory, I would expect the 7600 and 14600 to be basically one's better this time, one's better this time, one's better this time, one's better this time.
And bearing in mind, this is a productivity computer, not necessarily gaming. So and Intel still tends to do well in productivity.
They have.
So
a good number of cores. What's this? This is 6 plus 4?
Box. Box.
Oh, does it not say on the box? I thought it said on the box. How's the consumer supposed to know what what you're selling them on.
Imagine informing the consumer.
Why wouldn't you just write, because you can write big numbers of cores on there because of your Cinebench cores.
Yeah. Are you implying that the E-cores serve no purpose?
6 plus 8, there you go. It's okay. Why does the box need to say anything when I've got JD?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Leaving the film on the heatsink and going for a Verge build.
I mean, you've got the giant tube of GD9.
Oh, intrusive thoughts, yeah. All right, that's SSD, RAM, and a CPU. Right, I guess I'll stick the cooler on there, yeah. Right, I'm just going to package bits back up again because the customer is probably going to ask for all the boxes back, so I'm just going to repackage everything as I'm going because that makes it a lot easier if you do it as you go. How the hell do I put this? Put this. Right, you can be the reboxer. Right, I'm going to, that goes there as well. I'm going to put this back in here because then customer data is then covered up. That goes in there as well.
I'm going to set fire to this customer data so the customer data is covered up.
That can go back in there. I bought some Corsair DDR4 on eBay recently for one of their cheap builds that we'd spec'd up. And I laughed slightly because when I unpackaged it, it came in a box of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro stuff. And it just had a post-it on saying, not actual RAM, just reused the box kind of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, it's fine, man. You don't need to justify that. I would have figured this out. Like, I wouldn't have been mad that you'd used a different box. And just, it made me chuckle. I don't know why, but yeah. Good.
Why the hate for Intel? I mean, there's no hate, at least not here, presently.
No.
For Intel, just a case of it in a lot of its instances, the AMD option has been better for the past 3-4 generations.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Like,
how many is 4?
Well,
3. Yeah, 3. 5000 series, 7000 series, 9000 series.
Yeah, because because we're talking about, well, like, let's pull up. So let's. Do you want to pull up the Gamers Nexus video for the I don't know, the 7600X, and we'll just see how gaming it performs versus the i5,
sure.
And also the power consumption. So yeah, just quickly pull that up and just skim through it, just so we can get a gauge on it. Because what we'll find is that the 7600X costs slightly less, probably performs slightly better in games, and uses less power. So it's just objectively a better choice. That's the problem, and the issue is that this is what we see time and time again. Is that Intel? It's not bad. It's just AMD is just better. You know, that's the thing. So yeah. Right. Pull stuff out.
We'll have to go to the 13600 review because the 13600 came out afterwards.
Oh, okay, yeah. 14600 we're going against. So yeah, pull up the 14600 review then. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure which came out first. Yeah, and it's the K, just to be exact.
Yeah.
Try not to make packaging noises into the microphone.
The 14600K in the GN CPU benchmark, I don't know what that is. Oh, Blender, 5 minutes. The 14600K is 172.8 watts, whereas there isn't a single AMD CPU on this chart.
Oh, thanks,
what
Gamers
a
Nexus.
fucking useless chart.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. Here's a chart that's actually remotely useful. The 7700 is 140 107 versus 172.
Yeah. Okay. So
Fine.
like it's not world changing, but it's a bit more power efficient. So yeah. And then what's performance wise?
In Siege, it is. Where's the 77? Sorry, 76 there. In Siege, it's slightly slower than the 7600.
Yeah.
In F123, it's it's slightly slower than the 7600.
Yeah.
In
yeah.
Baldur's Gate, it's slightly faster than all of the 7000 series.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Baldur's Gate likes Intel by the looks of things.
In Cyberpunk, where's the actual chart? In Cyberpunk, it is slightly faster than.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's slower than the 7700.
That's the 7700, not the 7600.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 7600 is there, and it's
that's the
basically
7600.
parity. But
Yeah.
again, 7600
Yeah.
is slightly better.
It's
So basically,
fractionally.
yeah.
Yeah.
The AMD is just basically
Starfield.
slightly. Yeah, with
It's
the,
slightly faster in
Yeah, so-
Starfield.
Yeah, so broadly speaking, the 7600X is slightly cheaper and slightly better in nearly all tests. There's going to be a couple where they trade places.
For gaming, yeah.
Yeah,
But
for
then
gaming. Yeah.
Blender, it's like a full minute faster on a 11-minute render.
Yeah, yeah. Although I don't know why you'd be Blender rendering on CPU, but that shows better compute though. So yeah.
And then compression, decompression in 7-zip, it's about the 10% mark faster. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It shows where it's faster is the not gaming stuff.
Yeah.
So,
So in this particular instance, at this, like for the in this price bracket, the Intel and AMD, they're functionally identical, to be honest. So that's the thing, is just if at this particular moment it doesn't actually make a difference. The reason why there's a lot of Intel hate in general is that as soon as you go into any kind of price bracket where one of the X3D CPUs is relevant, Intel will get its face pushed in by any X3D processor that's in the same category.
Also,
As soon as you're up against an X3D, it's all over.
yeah, using market pricing as opposed to scan pricing,
Yeah.
the 7600 is also like £30 cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's a case of it's cheaper and slightly faster for gaming, but if you're not doing gaming, that's irrelevant,
Yeah.
because being faster for a task you don't do is irrelevant.
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's it. So that's why there's the negative sentiment with Intel here. Is just it's not a bad CPU. AMD is just slightly better across the board. And
X99 is not relevant and hasn't been for getting on for a decade.
yeah, no, HEDT is bad. Do not unless you're buying like that Lenovo ThinkStation P500 for 50 quid. No.
Yeah, for about £50 actually.
Yeah.
For a complete computer.
Because it's
yeah.
50 quid for a computer.
Yeah.
That's the point. That's when, at that point, we can talk about your Xeons.
Well, no, because I was about to say, yeah, but even then, no. But then I was like, oh no, that's 50 quid for an entire computer that functions.
Yeah, and it's got like a 900 watt power supply, so you can just shove any graphics card into it,
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point.
yeah, that's the point when it becomes relevant. However, HEDT is good. There's just not any new stuff for us to buy. Yeah, I guess.
I'll have you know there's a 4-year-old Threadripper you could buy. Oh, apparently OBS Studio disconnected.
Rip. Okay. Chat, are we still good?
I mean, according to YouTube Studio,
Yeah,
we are as
I'm
well,
guessing
so-
we had a hiccup. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ba. Right, I'm going to keep going. Right, chat isn't losing their mind, so I'm guessing we're okay. Yeah. Oh, back. Yeah, just a refresh. Yeah. All right. Yes. I saw a thing the other day. I alluded to it earlier on, but I saw an old meme that had it was like a medieval meme or something that I need to look up the origin for it, but in some ancient media or something, a peasant referred to angelic beings or something like that as watchers from beyond the veil, And the meme was saying, this is basically what we would call chat these days. So instead of saying, chat, am I cooked? We just say, watchers from beyond the veil, am I cooked? And I need to look up the rest of the meme.
Is my meat caramelized?
Yes. And I think it was very funny. So I will refer to chat henceforth as watchers from beyond the veil. How's the GD900 treating you? I like it. Yeah. The GD900 showed up. I like it. It's a bit thinner than MX4, which I appreciate because MX4 is quite a thick paste. So yeah, I'm enjoying the GD900. As I say, for me, the difference will be whether this separates into horridness after a month when I've only used about that much of it. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying the GD900. I like having the big tube and not having to think about wasting it. So yeah.
Oh.
HEDT, very relevant in professional market. Sure, but that's professional market.
That's not a gaming computer.
Yeah, that's not a gaming computer.
We're talking about gaming computers.
Yeah.
Your application's wrong. What you got to do is you got to take the tube.
Ho, don't do it.
And you've got to go from about here, and you've got to get the long range application.
Ho, don't do it.
Okay.
Mainly because I can't be bothered to clean up the mess.
Fine. What the hell is this?
A one-shot wonder.
It's bloody rock solid. It also doesn't stick to the CPU. Stay on the CPU.
Oh my god.
The fuck is this?
Watch us from beyond the veil. Are we cooked? I see. So I'm using the GD900.
I don't know what that was, but it was approximately terrible.
This is excellent banter. I'm doing X marks the spot. Shut up.
There you go. Have you got an LG A1700 offset mount to use for that? Gotta get them peak temperatures.
Have I got any mounts? I probably should have put the mounts on before the thermal paste because...
oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, now I'm definitely going to stick my finger in that while I'm putting all the mounts on. Right, I've got... Right, I've got two mounts apparently. We've got a 1700 and a 115X, or 1200, yeah. Right, this is 1700, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
Is that a metal backplate?
It is not, it is plastic.
That's disappointing. Do you have to unscrew the socket to mount it?
I don't think so.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay, right, screws.
Add some flux too.
Not enough flux. Right.
What is the camera done? Has it gone, hello, yes, I want to be 30 FPS? Oh no.
I'm slightly sad that this isn't a Assassin Spirit one, the big one, because otherwise I could steal the AMD mounts from this kit to complete the other Thermalright I've got over there that only has Intel mounts that I will never ever use.
Do you know what you could do? You could just put that cooler on here.
Yeah, no, well, customer parts, but yeah. You know what I could do is I could do an Intel build just specifically so I can use up that cooler.
The big one.
What's
the whole cooler costs 35p. You are not getting a bit of backplate with that.
Yeah, I'm still just baffled at how Thermalright prices are what they are.
Because they're sponsored by the Chinese government.
Is that the actual answer?
I've no idea.
Yeah,
I'm just spreading conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
they're entirely for breeze.
Yeah, like it's nuts how cheap Thermalright coolers are.
Is that the correct way round?
It is not. You are very... yeah, I have not fitted this particular one before, and you are correct. I'm doing it wrong. Oh, it was something falling off of the box of cardboard. I was very confused
Ghosts.
there. Yeah. Haunted. Before we started, I said I was going to... This was going to be a build that I was going to like edit into a build video for the main channel, and I'm just like... I don't know if that's happening now. Whatever. We are having a conversation,
okay.
though.
You could edit it in the style of the big popular YouTubers. You know, it could be all rage baity and energetic. You know, and oh my god chats. Oh my god.
What on earth?
Goosebumps.
Right, okay. I'm making a meal out of this. Alright.
Why is there a box of cardboard? Because that's where the parts came.
Yeah, where do you put your cardboard? Like, I receive a lot of boxes, and I've got to put the boxes somewhere, so you put your box in a box, so you have a box of boxes.
You have your box eye.
Right, that's going to go there. That is going to go...
The other way around?
Yes, the other way around.
the writing?
Yep. Yep, so this guy is offset, so you can put it either way around. It just depends on which direction it leans. This way it will lean over the top of the VRM heat sinks, which is where you want it. The other way around it would block the M.2 port. But yeah. Right, that's going to go on like that. I think that's ready to go on. Yeah, let's do it.
Before you do that, take the sticker off the bottom.
Not going to lie, I was about to make the mistake. It happens. This is how easy it happens. Thanks, friend. Oh no, bamboozled. I tried. Okay. You can tell I'm not... that bracket's the wrong way around. Pain. I put them both the wrong way around. My God. Oh my God.
Caught in 1440p.
Watch us from beyond the veil. I'm tired. You can tell.
Oh. I'm sorry for your loss of hours of sleep.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, I slept well last night. I don't know. Also, what on earth? These holes... Oh, there's a very slight notch. I don't know. These are like oval holes, and it's really hard to tell whether I'm supposed to be on the near or the distant part of the oval. That should be good enough for it to actually go on. Graham, have a drink. That's not going to help me. That much being said, though, Caradog brought some hecking Thatcher's Blood Orange, and I do like Blood Orange.
I meant to put it in the freezer. I forgot.
Ah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm going to crack one of those open.
So it could be chilled on this warm day.
We could actually crack open a cold one with the other boy.
Yes, this warm day where you're still wearing a hoodie. Because there is 7 kilograms of you. And the circulation stops about here.
I'm live.
Are you sure about that?
Probably not at the moment, no.
I'm not sure of anything.
All right.
This week, Graham learns how to build a PC.
Pain. Right, where's the big screwdriver? Also, I'm wearing like a navy blue T-shirt, so it'll be we'll have the man who wears dark clothing all the time versus the man who wears light shirts all the time. The Aldi version of blood orange cider is delicious. Ah, interesting.
Your VR chat model is everything you want, including thick.
I mean, yeah, but comment section doesn't like it if I talk about that. It's like I can't. Every time I've done VR content, like the last time I did the most recent slime video, there was someone in the comments being like, immediately clicked off when I saw your cartoon character kind of thing. And I'm just like, are you that delicate that you couldn't bear 10 seconds of B-roll demonstrating motion capture? You know, my God. I am legitimately going to take off my hoodie in a minute. In fact, I'm going to take off my hoodie now.
That's not your hoodie, those are your glasses.
I'm not going to try and take off my hoodie while I'm wearing my glasses.
With a microphone on it.
Yeah. My t-shirt didn't go whoosh as I tried to take it off either, I'm proud. There's a moment that I'll never forget where I was sitting in a coffee shop and went to take off a jumper, and I went, huh. All 5 layers came off at the same time, and I just went, and without blinking, just went, right, how am I going to do this? You know, just okay. I don't think anyone saw that. You know,
me just randomly disrobing in this shop.
Yeah.
I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. Your computer has been annihilated by a can of cider.
It's really good though.
I
I
enjoy my Woodgate.
I was going to say, this is Woodgate. I didn't notice. Yeah, is this the Aldi one?
No, it's the little one.
The little one, same thing. Someone will get really angry about that, but
No, it's not. Woodgate's made by Westons.
oh, is the Aldi one made by someone else then? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
It's made by the other Westons, brother.
Probably, yeah. Topical. Okay, right. We're building a computer. God, it has taken me so long to do so little.
The VR chat videos are my favourite because for like a week after video, we have people in the Discord asking if you're a fairy.
The signs have always been there. Right, I'm gonna go a fan there and a fan on the back. And I'm gonna go like that. I think. Wait.
Are you sure?
No. There we go.
Are you certain?
Yeah, this is. I haven't seen this particular cooler before. This is like a slightly smaller. Where's the one that I've got? I just want to do a quick size comparison here because I'm just like, oh, the Peerless Assassin. That was the one that I was trying to remember the name of. This is the little brother of the Peerless Assassin. Yeah, so there's the Peerless Assassin with one fan on it, and I say little brother, but yeah, it's basically the same size. That's, what's that, 6 heat pipes, and that is 6 heat pipes. See, this is what makes Thermalright so confusing to me. This is a Peerless Assassin, this is a Phantom Spirit. They're basically the same thing. I guess the Peerless Assassin is slightly more. It's got slightly nicer fans on it because it's got rubber edges on the fans, and it's got like the little caps on it so you don't see the end of the heat pipes, which is a nice touch in my opinion. So yeah, it's 7. Count again. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's 7 versus 6. Yeah, okay. Look, you guys have got time on your side. I'm having to do this on the fly at a glance.
Are you going to rotate the fan by 90 degrees to bury some of the cable?
I might. Yeah, I think I will. That will have the label on the back fan will be exposed to be the wrong way round. But
It's
like,
okay.
man, you're gonna
you can get rid of that being a problem. You can mount it on the front.
Yeah, then it covers up the RAM though. That's gonna look naff, I think.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it'll look better there. And like, to be honest, in order to see that label being the wrong way round, someone's actually gonna have to stick their head right round the back of the computer. In which case, yeah, you're gonna see some labels that are wrong. So yeah, I support this. Anyway, Thermalright's business model confuses me greatly, but I greatly enjoy their incredibly cheap air coolers that have basically rendered everyone else a waste of time. I don't understand why anyone is buying anything other than a Thermalright cooler at the moment, assuming that you're air cooling, because their prices are just nuts. Fans work better as push than pull. Fair enough. I doubt it makes a significant difference personally. That much being said, this
They have incredibly cheap IEIOs.
yeah, this the rear I/O heatsink is nudging the rear fan up quite a lot, so it might be better putting it in the push config actually. Yeah, all right, decision made. We'll go push.
Is that a DM? That was a DM.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, you win, JD. We're going push.
Can this photo load, please? JD, your images are worthless. They don't load. Damn it, JD. And I'm going to blame JD for this, even though it's Discord's fault. Or your Wi-Fi. One or the other. Your Wi-Fi has been entirely saturated by the 4K streaming.
Cowdog, I'm hearing you just throwing around a lot of blame on everyone but yourself here. Have you considered that this might be a skill issue?
No. I don't have any skill. I have staff for that.
Yeah, if you get everyone else to do everything for you, then nothing is your fault. This is doing it. That bumps up slightly hitting the RAM, and now it just means that you'll never get the RAM out. No, honestly, I'm going for the pull. I think covering up the RAM looks hideous, and it just means you can't get to the RAM.
Why wouldn't you just go push and pull on there anyway?
Oh.
It doesn't make any difference.
Well, the middle one doesn't, no.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That much being said, I don't know if I just flip the...
It might...
I was going to say, I don't know if the clips will allow me to do that. This is, for the record, this is a very strenuous thing, trying to choose where the fans go. But, like, if someone's going to say, why don't you do this? Well, let's actually offer it up in all the positions and find out. For me, I'm just like, oh my god, who cares? I defy you to notice a difference. But, yeah, no, I'm going to move those around just for brevity. I think it looks nicer having one, because that just looks like it's fitted wrong to me. Even though it doesn't make a difference, I think just having one mounted on each tower looks nicer, and I think pull looks better and gives access to the RAM. And yeah, I do not believe for a second that it's going to make a meaningful difference in cooling.
Karasem, Nethy Dog. Hello, Dave Bob.
All right.
Dave Bob, please shout at Neth. No, don't shout at Neth. He's fragile.
Why do I need to be shouted at?
I'm considering adding another fan to my Pierce Assassin for push, pull.
I mean, adding more fans does increase cooling, like unironically, but there's massive diminishing returns. It's kind of like having push-pull through a water cooling radiator. Having fans on both sides of the radiator, it does improve cooling, but there's massive diminishing returns on it, so yeah.
As cider experts, do you know Magna's Berry Irish cider? And if yes, what do you think about it? It's Magna's.
I was going to say,
so my immediate opinion is it's probably not great.
I've not had Magna's in a very long time.
Let's do an internet search for Magna's Berry Irish cider. Also, what makes it Irish? Are the berries Irish?
Nothing. Magnus is probably registered in Ireland, so it's technically Irish, but that's pure marketing speak. So,
it looks like it is 100% sugar flavouring.
Yeah. Not going to lie, not a fan of Magnus. Like, it's better than Strongbow, don't get me wrong. We're not talking bottom of the barrel here, but I think my cider tier list is Strongbow, Bulmers, Magners, and then getting into the nice brands kind of thing.
I honestly thought you were going to say my tier list is anyone who buys me Strongbow. Yeah,
like I now and then now and then, viewers of the show send me a box of cider. So thank you very much for people who do that. However, please don't send me Strongbow. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth or anything. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth or anything. But
A gift horse?
Shut! Please don't send me Strongbow. Copperberg is worse than Strongbow. At least Copperberg is sweet. So, and I like, yeah, you're right. Copperberg is also really low down on the tier list, but I like sweet drinks. So, like, I'll tolerate Copperberg because it's a sweet drink, but it's also trash.
Yes.
Do they sell Merrydown in the UK? They do. I like Merrydown because you can get Merrydown in a 750ml bottle, which is that's a really good like have a couple of drinks kind of size because it's not 2 pints. It's like a pint and a half, which is pretty good for me.
Oh dear. Magners Berry Irish Cider is being sold as a craft cider in the US.
That's adorable.
Oh no.
They think this shit is premium.
Oh, I'm sorry. Genuinely, if you're in America and you want cider that's reasonably good cider, try the Angry Orchard ones. It's an American cider brand that's actually reasonably good. It's a bit sweeter than what we have over here as standard, but it's not a sweet cider by kind of flavour scales. It's just sweeter, but still somehow somewhat medium.
Yes.
So help me if you order a box of Strongbow, I will remove you. Not from the stream, not from the Discord, you will just be removed.
Just Thanos snap you.
I will find you.
And you will not feel so good. God, okay, we've built the motherboard. We're getting there.
Excellent, it's now time for you to do a BIOS update.
Sure. What, are we going to post-test this or something?
Well, I don't know. Or you can put it in the case and then do the BIOS update.
Yeah,
but before we do anything, we're doing a BIOS update. Or otherwise it will die.
Why?
Because Intel will set fire to it.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Because it's 14th gen.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to immediately catch fire, but...
Okay, it will have 7 days. And then Intel will crawl out of the CPU.
Back to you, Steve.
And then you'll get Bob Swan appear in your room.
Is he the new CEO?
No. He's the CEO.
In my defense, the Intel CEO has changed like 3 times in the past 6 months. So, like, it's not, like, this isn't a Lisa Su moment here. I think a lot of people probably don't actually know who the CEO of Intel is right now.
I've forgotten his name. I'm aware of who he is, but I've forgotten his name.
Okay.
But yes,
I'm putting
did
this
plug
in
the
the
fans
case.
in. The fans have been plugged.
Yes. Yep. In the plans have been fugged.
I'm gonna thug you.
Could I have the carpet tile, please? I think it's behind you.
Eventually. Before that, I'm getting you something important out of the box.
Oh, IO
A
shield.
tin
Yep.
shield.
Whoop.
I say tin. I don't know what it is. Oops. Get carpeted, and it did.
Whoop.
There we go.
Okay, right.
A £100 650 watt PSU. What? Hey? Oh, what, the RM 650?
RM 650? Sorry, folks, my glasses fell off my face. That's the catch with this. It's not £100, this power supply, surely. I'm guessing 70.
RM 650.
I'm guessing 70.
150?
No,
63.
no one is paying
140.
No.
57. 63. 140.
Okay, but what is it on Amazon?
What?
What is it on Amazon?
Oh, that's the RM 650E. No, RM 650.
Graham stopped taking the pills. I'm on ibuprofen at the moment, so yeah, I'm not on anything exotic. I've given up on all the exotic painkillers because none of them were just particularly effective.
£105 Amazon.
£105. Yeah. The RM series is just a bit too expensive at the moment, which is why we ended up using the CX series. Call for price. I hate that. Just tell me how much it costs.
But yeah, probably around £100.
Yeah, so I have a suspicion that this... I think this is why this build ended up being like £1,200, because everything is just the slightly more... this is the opposite. Like, when we... this is the thing. Like, when we're speccing up PCs on here, we're grinding out every pound we can because we're trying to build £100 of profit into the build price. This is what happens when you don't do that and you buy just all the brand names, is it goes the opposite direction. You're paying an extra £10 or £15 for everything you're buying because you're buying the slightly more expensive thing because the internet told you it was better. It's like buying a Samsung SSD. You're paying that premium price for it because you were told it's the best one. And it's like, yeah, it's technically probably the top of the charts, but by the time you've paid another £10 or £15 on all of your components, you end up with a build like this, where all of the components are jolly nice, but you probably could have done the build for a couple of £100 cheaper, with a bit of with a little bit of finagling, you know.
Yeah.
Just don't buy Corsair; it's all overpriced.
Their power supplies aren't.
No, like the RM650, yeah, £100 for a 650 watt power supply is kind of dear.
The RM650 is overpriced.
Yeah, this is too expensive.
Because they discontinued it, as far as I can tell, and replaced it with the 650E. The 650E is like £70.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that maybe they found, you know, we don't know if they paid £100 for this one.
Well, that's the price on scan.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I like the alternative products. A 750 watt Corsair RM750X Shift.
Yeah.
A Corsair RME, RMX, RMX.
Yeah.
700 watt SIP builder.
One of these is not like the other.
Right?
Yeah. Also, do you want to put us on just face cam for now? Because, yeah, the bench cam isn't seeing anything
face cam
interesting right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes. But by comparison, you know, we've been using the CX550 and the CX650 for the builds we've been speccing, and that's not a modular power supply, so it doesn't feel particularly premium because you're like, it's fully wired. But also that power supply is like £50.
Fully wired for your powering requirements.
Yeah. So because it's £50, it's just like, yeah, it's fine, it's great. But then on the other hand, you know, those are bronze-rated power supplies and this is a gold-rated power supply. I guess the question is, what else would you buy? So like, okay, like actually,
the RME for 70
yeah, okay, yeah. I wonder what happened then. Yeah,
modular, full, semi, the cheapest, somewhat modular, is the Endorphi Supremo FM5.
I see. Right, hold on a sec. I'm just going to do some reboxing because I've got to keep. I'm trying to put all the packaging back into boxes as I go.
Yeah.
So if you leave this till the end of the build, it's really hard to keep track of where everything came from. That's cooler. That's power supply. I'll log that back in the box.
How many watts was this?
This is a 650.
There you go. The Gigabyte UD750 GM for 7750, something like that. Thermalright TG 750 watt.
Oh, Thermalright making things, yeah. Are the Thermalright power supplies any good?
The Aerocool Incinerator, Interrogator Gold.
Integrator, yeah. I was just going to say, I'm pretty certain it's not Interrogator.
I was about to go for a bit where each time I said a different I word. The Endorphi Supremo FM5. Corsair RM650X 2021 edition is out of stock everywhere. Gigabyte UD-GM PG5. the Pahantex AMPGH.
Okay, right.
BS.
Every time I look down, I see something that I forgot to put back in a box. I should have unboxed everything at the start. I broke my own rule. This is why you unbox everything before you start building, and then you don't have this problem.
Andor Phi Supremo FM5. Let's see if there are any reviews for this. Oh, there's a Kit Guru comment. Let's see what Kit Guru says. Closing thoughts. It would be fair to say the first impressions were somewhat muted. The frame. Basically, it sounds like the review from Kit Guru for the Endor Phi Supremo is it's fine.
I see.
It won't set your world alight. It also won't set your world alight.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Sorry, wait, what did that say? We are all Technolog.
Okay.
The Supremo FM Gold 1000 watt is like God mode for your computer.
No need to oversell it. It's a power supply. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Right, what have we got? That is PCI Express. CPU.
I see.
CPU. Better run both the 8 pins because it's an Intel.
Guess what?
Savage.
You don't have two 8-pins.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but not on the board you don't.
Oh.
You've only got an 8-pin and a 4-pin.
Well, plug half of one in then.
I'll plug in only the ground side.
I'm tired, Caradog. What am I doing here?
Getting bullied. That's what
Yeah.
you're doing here. Getting abused.
Oh, weak. This thing only has a single PCI Express 8-pin.
Yeah, and probably 3 EPS.
Yeah. What the hell? Oh, come on. Corsair.
This is the complaint that Sai has about almost all of
Yeah.
the current Corsair power supplies.
What?
They supply 3 EPS
Yeah.
and 1 PCIe power cable.
It's a dual one, so like, it's fine. We've got 300 watts of power there, but like, why would you include 2 CPU cables and a single graphics card cable? Just
Especially as it's a 650 watt. If it's a 450 watt, I
sure.
can understand having only a single PCI Express.
Yeah, yeah. Like, this is fine because even if they change the graphics card, like, you can run 300 watts off of this. It's fine, you know. So we're okay. Like, they're not putting a 5080 in this. So yeah. So it's fine. But still, that's not the point. Okay, right. That's the cables we need. Power supply going in. That way round. Right, where is the accessory box for the case?
Underneath the polystyrene.
Let's get all the screws out. It's a 4070 and 8-pin.
I don't know, but that's a 4060.
This is a 4060, yep. Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a single 8-pin.
Technically, the 650 watt isn't supposed to be used on 300 watt PSUs. So that's why it only comes with 1 PCIe power cable. What? Huh? JD?
Excuse me.
But it's a 650 watt power supply, so why can't you use 2 PCI Express power chains?
Yeah, like,
I don't understand. I don't understand the point you're making.
Yeah, like it's not unreasonable to use a mid-range graphics card like a 70 class card that has dual 8 pins on it. Yeah, it doesn't have 12 VHP, no. But yeah, like it's completely reasonable to want to run a 70 class card from a 650 watt power supply.
Yeah.
And for that, you know, the 70 class. But then I guess maybe Corsair are like, well, you know, you've got 2 8 pins on there. What's the problem? And it's just like they're not incorrect, but obviously the meta is not to use pigtails.
But not just that, it's a case of also what about the cards that are 2 8 pins and a 6 pin, but only draw like 300 watts because people for some reason still can't work out how numbers work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, because it's like
yeah, the standard is a mess. That's the problem.
yeah, but it's like the 5600 XT. There are a couple of 5600 XTs that had dual 8 pin, but it's a 150 watt card.
Yeah.
And 75 of that can come through the PCIe slot.
Yeah, that's a bit strange because
You could have a single 6 pin on that.
Yeah, because like as a reminder for everyone in chat, the reason why the standard is a mess. Is because the 8-pin PCI Express connector is technically only certified for 150 watts. But in reality, as long as you're using a decent quality cable, as you would with a Corsair power supply, you can easily pump 300 through it. But this is why graphics cards tend to have an excessive number of connectors on it, because technically the connector is only certified for 150 watts. So if you have a 300 watt graphics card, it has to have 2 connectors on it, even though in the real world you can easily pump 300 through a single 8 pin.
Yeah, but having dual 8 pin 300 watts isn't egregious.
No.
It's when they put the like 200 watt cards with 2 8 pins.
Yeah, that's kind of silly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, power supply fitted.
Also, I think part of the problem was because Nvidia went on this weird thing about their power usage and really weirdly manages their power usage. So you'll get massive transients all over the place because of the way they do power management. And so like you can be at something like 150% of power target for X number of picoseconds and it be acceptable.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a problem that actually is in the real world anymore, because obviously there was a big scare of that for the 3000 series, or the 30 series, sorry, and similar with was it the 6000 series on AMD side was the equivalent of the 30 series? Yeah. There was the big scare of transients around that time where everyone was speccing like double the expected power consumption just in case, and that seems to have died off now.
Well, yeah, partially because the power regulation was done slightly differently.
Yeah.
The transients are smaller now.
I've done this in the wrong order. I should have put the motherboard in first. My brain is in a very strange place today.
Oh, also the chat died.
Oh.
There we go. Suddenly there are messages.
Ah, okay. Weird.
I just refreshed the chat and suddenly from there to there loaded.
Fair enough. Yep. Okay, right.
Yeah, there we go. 250 watt, not 300. Yes. Yeah. Corsair provided reasoning is a single PCIe cable is modular and has 2 connectors. Corsair don't want to offer 2 additional PCIe cables because of 2 EPS cables which can stress the PSU if fully utilized. And drop one of the EPS connectors.
Yeah. Or just like ship it.
I'm more likely to want to plug in 2 separate cables to my GPU than I am to plug in 2 separate cables to my CPU.
Yeah.
Because the EPS is actually somewhat correctly rated.
Yes. Yeah. Because weirdly, the EPS cable differs because it's 4 12s and 4 zeros, whereas the PCI Express 8-pin is wacky, where it's like two two 12s, a Sense 12, and 5 zeros or something bizarre like that. I do not understand the PCIe 8-pin spec. It's wild.
Yeah, 5 ground.
5
three
grounds and
12
3
volt.
12s, yeah.
Yeah,
And
of
like,
which one of the grounds is technically a Sense.
yeah, and it's just, I don't understand the logic. I do not understand the logic behind that connector at all.
Yeah.
What's that?
You did say there was a reason why you'd want more grounds in... Why you'd want more, quote-unquote, negatives than positives.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure on this, because the thing is that because like on a buck regulator, the low side MOSFETs that are connecting to ground actually do more work. You're sourcing current through earth because electrons flow from ground. And this is, which is where it gets kind of wacky.
Is the plus 12 volt actually plus 12 volt? If that makes sense. So is it actually 12 volt of missing electrons?
I guess the problem is we're right on the fringes of my expertise here.
Yeah.
So
is the plus 12 volt rail 12 volts of difference of missing electrons, or is it actually a 12 volt supply of electrons and obviously everything is wrong because everything is wrong because everything is wrong?
No, I don't think that's correct. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we need someone who's actually an electronics engineer to be able to explain this properly, and I'm not an engineer. So yes. So yeah, kind of difficult to tell there. Oh man, chat's really weird. It just moved along by a chunk as well.
Yeah.
PCIe power is old and stupid. That's why we've got a new connector. Unfortunately, that is just as bad. Yeah, true
The
that.
new connector is fine if it was used as a 500 watt connector. Which would then give you roughly the same safety factor as the 8-pin has.
Yeah, yeah. But the problem is they're trying to pump 600 and now 650 watts down it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nvidia, it's wild. They were flying close to the sun with the 40 series, and instead of being like, yeah, maybe we should back off a bit, they were like, what if we put another 50 watts down it, you know? Do we have chat in slow speed? No, we're not doing anything weird with chat.
It's just loading in chunks,
Yeah.
but it's only started in the past 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wacky. Okay, right. I'm going to try and focus on cabling for a sec. So, Carrot, I'm going to rely on you to go into chat because I'm going incredibly slowly and I need to speed up. So I'm actually going to lock in for a sec.
Yeah.
And just get some work done.
Yeah. Depends. 3080 isn't expensive now. Let's try and catch up on the chat. I think messages are also missing from the chat, which doesn't help.
Yeah, we had a connection drop. Oh, yeah.
MOSFETs are so cool. Last component I learned about, yes. Correctors potential difference, yes. 3080 is around £180 in the UK. Really? Really?
Citation needed.
eBay.co.uk. RTX 3080. Where is it sold?
Right. You can probably go to bench cam while I put the motherboard in.
Sold. Bench face.
Hello, thank you. I can work with that.
All of the most recent sold ones are 400, 330, 340, 250.
Wow.
For a 2080 Ti.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which isn't a 3080.
Yep.
Thanks, eBay. 330, 280 for a 10 gig one, yeah.
Balls.
eBay,
IO Shield.
as eBay says, I know you searched for an RTX 3080, but here's a 2060 Super.
I hate modern search so much. Like, why are you showing me 2080 Supers? That's not what I searched for.
I wonder if because in the description it said like RTX
Keywords. Maybe.
3080 or something like that.
Yeah. every now and then, it comes up in conversation where people talk about the enshittification of everything and stuff like that. And I don't like tinfoil hat conspiracies because most of the time when people talk about enshittification of things, their complaints are just really mid and like milquetoast stuff where it's just like, oh my God, deal with it. But then there are certain things where it's just like, man, they're not wrong,
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's get this heckin' motherboard into place. Clear under there, clear under there. Shuffle in. Don't shove all of the prongs into the ports. Check in it.
I think you did it.
I did it. Yep.
Success. Wait, has this motherboard got 2 USB 3?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a B760!
MSI, what were you thinking? What was your plan?
So as I continue to say,
Yeah.
ew, MSI.
Okay, MSI are okay, but however, yeah, this motherboard has 2 USB 3 ports on the back. It's got 4 USB 2 ports and a Type-C, but just 2 USB 3s.
And of course, the all-important PS2 port,
Yeah.
because I definitely need a PS2 port over
What a bizarre
USB.
choice.
What?
Yeah. What,
Okay.
That's bizarre. What a strange motherboard.
Yeah. Whack.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fine because most people don't actually need that many USB 3s, but also it's not the point kind of thing.
It's not the point because it's a B760.
Yeah.
I would be okay with them only having 2 USB 3 Type A's if they had 2 Type C's. So you had 4 high-speed ports.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. I'm not sure what they've traded for that bandwidth.
Profit. That's what they've traded.
I guess, yeah, because like, if they had only, yeah, like you say, if there was an extra Type-C port or there was some other port where it's just like, oh, okay, that's where they've put the bandwidth. Like if it had, like a dozen USB 2 ports or something like that, you'd be like, okay, they dropped all the USB 3 and put a shit ton of USB 2 on there. That's a choice, But yeah, no, this is a 6+1 USB ports and only 2 of them USB 3. That's kind of whack.
Yeah.
Crinkling packet.
Who needs more than 2 ports when you can add a hub? Because I want the ports on my motherboard?
Yeah, I don't like using hubs because it means you've got another box full of cables, Like, don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for a hub, but
But also the fact of, because this is a B760 board that's supposed to be not shit.
Yeah, I'd expect this kind of I/O on an A-series board.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was an A-series board, then I'd totally get it. It's got 2.5 gig LAN, but again...
Well, yeah, but that's because the chipset supports that natively, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh my days. Okay, how's that? I need to put a standoff in place.
No firewire, no sale.
Actually, it's IEEE 1394.
What was FireWire then? Was that just an
IEEE
Apple?
1394.
Was that an
yeah.
Apple marketing name then?
Yeah. Oh, the standoff was there. I'm just blind.
Graham.
Audrey.
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 Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't know what your plans are for a Saturday evening in VR chat.
VR chat is for Fridays. Right.
On Saturday night, we party.
Second Life.
Second Life still going?
Yeah, apparently. I don't use it though, no. But yeah, it's still alive and well. There are dozens of users.
Oh wow. Okay. I see. Let's look at the Second Life marketplace. Hold on. I does have to know. Because, okay.
I think it's for people who want the same. They want the experience you can get on VR chat, but desktop basically. If you don't have VR, you play Second Life because the desktop experience for VR chat is not very good.
There's also a lot more niche content in Second Life.
Yes.
That isn't furry.
Yes, I could believe that.
Yes. Oh, look, it's a Palette Gaming Pro. I like them GPUs, them gaming pros.
Oh my days. Okay. I'm going to scream. This screw keeps crossing thread.
Damn it, Fred.
Game World, I still go on Second Life. Oh, fair enough. Yep. Yeah, like I say, I do encounter people who use Second Life. Just most people went to VR chat just because VR is affordable these days. But yeah, there's certainly an appeal to Second Life depending on what internet subcultures you're in.
Didn't Second Life have like a PlayStation 2 release or something?
Oh, Second Life is Old Testament. Yeah.
Yeah, but it had like a really bizarre console release, I remember.
It wouldn't surprise me, yeah. But the last time I looked at Second Life was in like 2006, I think, you know.
Back when I was playing Final Fantasy 11.
Unironically, yes. But I didn't really get far into it because back then it was, you know, like we barely had broadband, so it would take like 3 days to download and it ran like a potato and there was no onboarding process, so like you would log into the game and just there was no guidance on where to go or what to do because, back then they just hadn't figured out how to onboard people into these things. But on the other hand, you know, there's not a doubt in my world that VR chat was probably in that state at one point as well. And like by extension, for people who are into this kind of thing, if you look at something like Resonite, which is a VR chat alternative, Resonite has it has some onboarding, but their onboarding is garbage. It's a very pretty world that runs at about 10 FPS and then doesn't tell you where to go next because they don't have much content there, you know. As opposed to VR chat, where you log on to VR chat, it puts you in a hub world and there is a section with a whole bunch of curated worlds saying like, here's some places that you could go and do things. There are hangout zones, there are mini games, and, you know, here is stuff you could go and do in the game, you know. We're on a wild tangent now.
We barely had broadband back then. You were lucky. We used to dream about having broadband. We had to knit our own programs.
Yeah, I mean, I started out in the dial-up era, so, you know, I remember that as well. But
I remember upgrading to broadband in 2010.
Yeah. However, my point was...
You think the broadband is your ally?
Yeah. The point was that, you know, certainly it was... Because we go through phases of like... It goes in slopes of how fast the internet is versus how fast we require it to be, and that was a period where certain games had extremely big downloads for the typical kind of internet that people would have at the time.
I see. Yes.
Also, though, I just can't remember very well. I'm probably talking out my arse here because, yeah, as I say,
back when my USR Robotics HST at 14400 board was the cat's bottom.
You hooked it up to the phone, didn't you? Dade, if you screw up again, you won't get into college. Alright, that was a Hackers reference. Just to clarify.
I see. Okay. Hack the Planet. I haven't seen these films. I'm just, you know, memeing.
Have you actually not seen Hackers?
Oh.
Huh. I would have thought you'd have watched that at some point. Just, you know, for cultural osmosis. I think, yeah, I still think Hackers is a cool film. People disagree with me. The last time I was on...
The building.
I'm working on it. The last time
I'm
I was...
walking it.
The last time I was... Last time I was on a group watch with Hackers, a bunch of people were like, I'm bored, this is shit. And I'm like, what? No, it's not. It's awesome. Look at it, you know. I don't think it's a good movie per se. It's just surprisingly good considering. It's better than it has any right to be. You know, considering it's just 100% 90s cringe, I think the story is coherent and, like, the thing that is happening makes sense. I'm going to go... Do you want to go to a face cam? I'm going vertical for a bit.
Vertical?
Yeah, like the...
oh, not that kind.
the actual thing that the bad guy is doing makes the conspiracy actually makes sense and is a real conspiracy that is believable, you know.
What, that they're making everything worse, so you'll buy a subscription?
Okay, right. This is a really annoying kind of motherboard where the 4-pin EPS connector is really penned in. So, like, there's nowhere to put the split 4-pin. Okay, right, I think I can tuck that into place so it's out of sight. That'll do.
Are you doing it? Are you winning, son?
I'm getting there, alright.
The African colony. I see. Oh, yes, JD saying, I'm so glad we didn't get the awful copper forever here. Thanks the Lord for corrupt government. We skipped past that to fibre everything. Yeah, but you went from no telephone to fibre everything, no electricity. Which is funny for a country that's sunny 97 hours of the day.
What are you?
And I'm so sorry.
Trying to sort out these back cables. Right.
We have the sun, okay. Yes, but no way of making use of the sun.
Right, up we go. Right.
The 90s, what a time when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was cool.
So
What's
here
that?
I am,
Oh, okay.
doing everything I can.
I thought you were doing Coconut Mall or something.
Pretending I'm a Superman. Alright. I played a lot of Tony Hawk on my Dreamcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Come on, Graham. You can do this. Gotta hype myself up.
When did the Dreamcast come out compared to the PlayStation?
I'm not sure. I didn't have a Dreamcast when it was relevant.
Dreamcast.
It was already basically irrelevant at the time when I bought one. I bought one because I was talking to just a friend online, and they were like, "The Dreamcast is cool. You can buy them cheap." And I was just like, "I've never bought a console. I'm going to buy a second-hand Dreamcast," and I did. And yeah, I played a lot on it actually. Yeah.
PlayStation was 94-ish from memory.
The Dreamcast was kind of weird because it was like a mid-generation release. So
apparently it was 1995.
Yeah, like the Dreamcast was superior to the PlayStation.
Dreamcast was 1999.
Yeah. The Dreamcast was very much superior to the PlayStation, but the PlayStation was already a juggernaut by the time the Dreamcast came out, and then like the Dreamcast shortly after the Dreamcast came out, like when was the Dreamcast and when was the Xbox One? Because the problem
Xbox One was 2001.
Sorry, by Xbox One I mean original Xbox, yeah. Because like the Xbox came out not that long after the Dreamcast and just ate its lunch.
Oh yeah, November 2001.
Yeah.
In North America and rest of world by March 2002.
Yeah, and when was the Dreamcast?
End of 1999.
Yeah.
Really 2000.
That's it. So like, yeah. Basically shortly after that the Xbox came out and was just it's all over. And obviously the PS2 came along and and then obviously the PS2 came along and then it was all over for everyone, you know. So
Man.
the Dreamcast had a lot of really interesting ideas, but it was just the Dreamcast was ahead of its time.
What a weird world it would have been had Microsoft not screwed AMD in 2001.
How so? Yeah.
Because this launched with a Pentium 3.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was a Pentium 3.
Wow.
But right up until
Oh,
Microsoft,
yeah, CPU, Pentium 3.
right up until Microsoft got on stage,
Yeah.
everyone thought it was going to have an AMD CPU in there.
Huh.
Even AMD thought it was going to have an AMD CPU because all of the AMD C-suite were in the front row, ready to announce their new console partnership with Microsoft.
Ooh.
And then they walk on stage and go, here's our new Intel games console.
Wow, savage. Yeah. Didn't the Dreamcast run Windows C or something? Yes.
Yes.
It did indeed, yeah.
Build!
All right, I'm taking...
Faster, boy! Faster!
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize the OG Xbox was just a Pentium 3. Like, I don't know what I thought it was, but I didn't realize it was literally a PC already.
Yeah.
You know.
It would also been amazing if it had launched with slightly more than 64 megabytes of RAM. Whilst also 64 megabytes of RAM was a lot of RAM at the time, it would have been amazing if they had found a couple more pennies.
Yeah. Okay, right. Front panel.
Yeah. Intel made them an offer they couldn't refuse. Yeah, I imagine Intel turned around and said, if you use our CPU in this product, we'll give it to you for free. Which is apparently what Intel did for the Xbox Series X and S. And Microsoft still turned around and went, no, we're going with AMD. They were given the option of free Intel CPUs or paying for AMD CPUs, and they chose to pay for AMD CPUs, which is an interesting position to be in.
Well, that would have been just because if they'd gone with Intel, what would they do for graphics? Like, sure, Jaguar wasn't exactly an amazing piece of hardware, but it had graphics.
No, the series consoles.
Oh, right, yes.
As in the current gen.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking of Xbox One. Yeah, how with the series, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, same deal. If they'd gone into Intel, like, they didn't have Arc yet, did they? Arc wasn't...
They still don't have graphics.
Yeah, but that's my point.
You never had your graphics.
Yeah, but like that's my point. Even for the Series consoles, Arc wasn't a thing when the Series X came out, was it? So, you know, Microsoft probably still turned around and said, oh, you know, Intel said, here's a CPU. Microsoft would have been like, cool, where's your graphics? You don't have graphics.
They would have used the HD 4000 line or something like that, which would have been what was in the Ice Lake CPUs, which was good, which was actually good for integrated graphics.
For integrated, sure, but like to run AAA games on a console, good.
Don't know, because if you make it 10 times the size, who knows?
But yeah, I don't think they would have, because like the fact that Arc has had such a troubled start proved that, you know, building a big graphics card is not as simple as just scaling up your integrated stuff.
But if you're making a fixed platform where the developers have to develop for that GPU,
sure, yeah,
it's a completely different kettle of fish where you have to develop a GPU for Microsoft Windows, for DirectX 9, 10, 10.1, 11, 12, 12 Ultimate kind of thing, where you go, here is a low-level API which lets you just hardware interface, and it's probably massively easier.
Yeah.
As the hardware manufacturer. But yeah. It's okay. Oh no. See, I'm going to rip off what someone said in chat first, and then I'll go back to it.
Okay.
But the next Xbox console just being called the Xbox 365. But yes.
With Copilot, you know.
Oh my god, it notices you're getting stuck on a level and keep dying, so Copilot pops up saying, do you need help with this?
God.
And for only £20 a month you can get Microsoft sanctioned Copilot AI assistants in games.
It looks like you're dying a lot. I asked Copilot for a strategy guide to help you out. Fuck off!
That's amazing.
God.
I love it. Oh, that's great.
Die.
That's great. I love it.
Like everyone hates that one guy who was just like, I asked ChatGPT for an answer, and it said that, like, no, everyone, Don't. Everyone hates you if you do that. Don't do that. Imagine having your computer doing that. Your computer is now that guy. You know. Whatever that was, I spoke over it. So yeah.
It doesn't even ask, it just switches to a YouTube video of how to play. Oh,
Starts playing you Asmongold clips, you know.
as Treb says, the strategy guide says this is a skill issue.
Yeah, and then it just gives you it just pulls up a strategy guide for a completely different game.
It pulls up a strategy guide for like Peggle and says, I think this is more your speed.
Oh.
Or it just brings up the thing and it says, I've searched the internet for this, and I understand that if you hit the enemies, you're more likely to win.
See, we joke, but also like this is what I do with streamers all the time when people, like if you're playing a racing game and you're having difficulty getting the time you need, I'm just like, try going around the course without hitting the sides and just,
Yeah.
shoot the cyber demon until it dies. That is my kind of humor, but I like it ironically, and the problem is that we're talking about a thing that will be saying that to you unironically,
Oh.
Mandatory rage pause.
Oh no. You have to you have to use your ChatGPT AI tokens to skip a fight that you're struggling on. Would you like to unlock this cosmetic faster? Or for only 25 premium AI tokens?
There's a cartoon. Have you ever heard of the cartoon Metalocalypse?
Is that the one where everything is approximately metal?
Yes. Yeah.
As in the music, not
Yeah.
construction.
We're here to make coffee metal. We will make everything metal. Blacker than the blackest black times infinity.
Brutal.
So yeah. Brutal. Yeah. Metalocalypse. It's a show about a fictional death metal band that is the 6th highest economy in the world, as a company kind of thing. So yeah, it is fame and fortune to absurdity, and very little actual intelligence. So yeah, they've got a bit where they're recording their album and they're like, they're like sort of don't like the sound. It's too digital. Yeah, it needs to be more analog. And they're like, we need a new format to record this to. And so they invent a format where you can record it to water, which is as analog as it can get. And so they come back and be like, okay, we've made this new format. You can record your music onto water now, and it will sound amazing. And they're like, and so they do it, and they play a montage of like, as the moment they hit the record button, it flashes through this montage of like burning rainforests, burning forest fuels, pollution into the air, smog, computers winding up to do the recording, and then it outputs the music into this jar of water, and then they listen to it and they're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Like I could record anything onto this and it would sound good. And they push the record button and burp into the microphone, roll the montage of all this pollution and burning fossil fuels again, and they're like, and it's the perfect belch into the microphone, and so. AI is like that. People are like, I'll ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT, how do I X? Enter. All of those data centers running all of those generators pumping smog into poor communities in America. This was a very long-winded political remark.
Okay. I'll ask Gemini to refine it for you.
Okay, right. So, we need to take out those two things there.
Are you going to unbox their graphics card?
Are we going to the graphics card?
Or are you going to place hoarder? Are you going to place hoarder?
Okay, well, So the graphics card is the one. Okay, right. Let's talk about the graphics card.
Graphics.
So,
Oh, you know what they could get?
what could they get?
They could get a B750.
Well, this is where I was going to go. So basically, we're saying that this graphics card is shit and they should send it back because it's an 8 gig graphics card in the year 2025. So, okay, well, how much does a 4060 8 gig cost? How much do we reckon they paid for this?
Those are two different questions.
Sure, we don't know how much they paid for this, so we're going to guess. So we're going to look at how much can you get what's the retail on a 4060 8 gig?
I was about to be horrified there.
Well, yeah, I was going to say 420. Woo!
But then I saw that was the TI and was
Yeah,
just like,
okay.
okay, that's not quite as
Yeah,
egregious.
so the problem is that you probably... Oh, yeah, well, obviously you can buy it because they did. Okay, so...
Right, which one is this? This is the Asus Dual,
Yeah.
which is that one. So they paid maybe 275.
Yeah, okay, so let's call it 270, 275. So 270, 275. What else could they buy instead for 275? Brand new. What are we saying that they should buy instead?
A 7600 XT for 295?
Okay, so is the 7600 faster than a 4060? Let's find out.
Oops, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think the B580 is the answer here. But it looks like they're basically parity, like 100%.
Yeah, it's 7% difference. 4060.
Oh, you searched the 7600. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they're pretty comparable then. Okay. Yeah. So
Don't forget this is the 4060 Ti and that's a 3060 Ti. So the 4060 is here and it's 7%.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So 7% slower than a 7600 XT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not. Yeah. So 7% that's barely perceptible because it's less than 10%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So we're going to call that parity.
Yeah.
For argument's sake. So they're about the same, except the 7600 is a 12 gig card.
The 7600 XT is 16.
Yeah, but we're talking. Could they get a 7600 XT for 295? Is that what we were looking at just then?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And it's a 16 gig. Oh wow. Yeah. So
Yes.
basically, if they pay another
This is 16 gig cards cheapest first.
Yeah. So if they pay another £20, they get double the VRAM and slightly more performance.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the solution here.
However, if they do something that specifically requires CUDA,
is going to suffer.
then that's a reason to use an
Yeah.
NVIDIA graphics card.
Yes.
However, if they're using something that specifically requires CUDA, they'll also probably want more than 8 gigs of VRAM.
Maybe, but let's say they're doing Photoshop.
Sure, but that doesn't require CUDA.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure is the answer there.
Yeah, it doesn't
So, yeah.
specifically. Sorry, I mean something that explicitly requires the CUDA instruction set.
Yeah. Mike says wait until Tuesday for the 5060. Yeah, but the 5060 is probably going to be an 8 gig graphics card.
It is.
Yeah, it is. So
We already know it's an 8 gig graphics card, and it's going to be an 8 gig graphics card that's £500.
Yeah. So just like the
Well,
50.
no, it's not. It's going to be 400.
Yeah, the 5060 is going to be a literal joke.
Anyone
So,
who
yeah.
buys a 5060 is a moron.
Yeah, quite frankly, there's no nicer way of putting it.
Anyone who buys a 5060 is a moron because you should just buy the 4060.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper.
And still 8 gigs. Or better still, buy a 7600 XT, which is just objectively superior. So yeah. That's the bottom line here. But so basically what we've discovered here is that the 4060 is indefensible in this instance.
It depends. Again, it depends on
if
what
they need CUDA,
it depends
yeah.
on what they're using it for. But our
Yeah.
point is, our recommendation is to not unbox it, to not use it,
Yeah.
and to specifically have the conversation with
Yeah.
the client
Okay.
and
so
say this is probably not a good decision.
Yeah, we should check with the. Yeah, so I'm going to check with the. I'm going to check with the client, which I'm not going to do right now on stream. However, I'll put this to one side. We'll stick a placeholder in just for the sake of completing the computer. Thankfully, I happen to have a 7600 XT here.
Is that a 7600
Sorry, a
XT? That's a 6700
This is a
XT.
6700 XT.
I was going to say.
Yeah, this was
you
that.
transplanted the cooler. Why would you do that?
This was that cheap one that we saw last week, that showed up. That was a little bit knackered, and it's kind of.
That's another one.
Yeah, this is another one.
I was about to say, why is it still on the bench?
Why is it still here?
We put it in a computer, Graham.
Yep.
Why is it here?
No, it is in a computer, and that computer has been sold. That one's gone. This is the other one that we bought that was a bit beaten up. It's got a connector on, and it's a bit beaten up, this card, and like someone's tried to respray the back panel, and it's a bit rough. So this is gonna be like, we'll put this in a cheaper computer because this is visually a used card, However, I'm going to throw this in here just for the sake of completing the build, so we can fire it up and be like, look, it works.
Could just use onboard.
We could.
If this has graphics out.
Yeah,
it does have graphics out.
Yeah, I'm just doing this just for the sake of we can just do the hero shot and just turn it and be like, look, it's a nice computer, So because I'll put it in there for now. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to wear out the slot or anything.
Call the client and ask, are you a moron?
Yeah.
Are you a Mormon?
Yeah.
No, wait, sorry. Are you a moron?
Yeah. How much is 6800 going for over there? About 300. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yeah.
But that's also not brand new.
Yeah.
At least
Michael says, please don't call me a moron. Please tell me you haven't bought a 5060. If you have, actually cancel your pre-order. We're not joking here. Don't buy the 5060. It's a bad product and a bad value proposition. It is objectively a bad product. It is indefensible. That's why we're going in so hard on this. There's no way to sugarcoat it. The 5060 is a bad product and no one should buy it.
And the 9060 XT, if it's 8 gig, will also be a bad product.
Yeah.
It's not just because it's an NVIDIA, it's because it has 8 gigs.
Yeah, there is no
And the
reason
2025 release graphics card with 8 gigs is bad.
Yeah.
And is indefensible. And selling that to someone, selling that to your customer is indefensible.
Yeah.
If you are a quote-unquote boutique builder and you're putting 8 gig graphics cards in new parts-only computers in 2025,
people
I don't want to know you.
People have done the maths on this. Hardware Unboxed have done the tests. They've done side-by-sides with the 8 gig cards to be like, look at this. Look at this. 8 gigs is not enough. Yeah. It is not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike says, I've got a new GPU coming in. I have a new GPU coming out on Tuesday. Yeah. It's going to do badly, man. If you're buying it to review it and look at it, sure. But there's no planet where you can recommend that card. You cannot recommend that card. Because, it's just... you put it up against anything and it's just going to get its teeth kicked in. You put that up against a 7600 XT and it will get its teeth kicked in. Even if its compute is faster than the 7600 XT, as soon as the graphics go above low settings, it will just completely fall apart. Yeah. If
they drop the price to £150, it becomes viable.
Yeah.
If it's $185, £150, that sort of region, then fine, it's viable.
That's the problem. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just it's not that okay, so if you're at 1080p with 8 gigs of VRAM on a low-end card and you're paying £200 for the card, let's be generous here.
Even £200 is too much, I think.
Well, let's be really generous and say 200, sure. But also, we know that the 5060 ain't going to be £200. Yeah. It's going to be 400.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's just no, because because at that price point, you're competing. At that point, you're now £100 past the 7600 XT, which is going to utterly demolish it. So that's the thing. It's just there's no planet where it will make sense at its price point because NVIDIA hates gamers. And to be honest, in a way you understand it because gamers hate Nvidia right now. But that
Yeah.
yeah.
Basically, it needs to come in at no more than £249.
I mean, I think matching it against second-hand cards isn't fair.
But this is a 12 gig card.
Yeah.
So
but
if it's an 8 gig card, it needs to come in at no more than £249.
it depends on what the cards cost new, I think. I don't think you can compare against the second-hand market.
Why not? Because any recommendation you make is going to be just buy a 6700 XT for 250 quid, the same price, and have enough VRAM to play your games on low.
Yeah, I mean, like, spiritually, I agree with you, but I don't think Nvidia and AMD will agree with you on that.
I don't care whether
Sure.
they do. I care about what I'm recommending to someone who's spending their own money.
Sure, but the thing is just like,
They have to compete with the market that exists, and the market that exists is this. This exists.
Yeah.
This is real.
yeah, okay. Well, you know what? This is fair, and like I say, spiritually, I agree with you.
If you're going to release an 8 gig card, which is going to be functionally broken in multiple games in
Yeah.
its year of release, purely because of its VRAM,
Yeah,
you're going to have to be compared with second-hand graphics cards from 4 years ago
yeah, okay.
because your
But-
card is offering worse performance.
Yeah. For devil's advocate, though, what are we competing with for brand new prices? So let's say, Mike reckons the 5060 is going to be about 270 quid. Now, if that's the MSRP, it won't actually be the MSRP. If that's the rumored MSRP, no, it ain't. Because like we've seen this. The 5090 was not the MSRP. The 5080 wasn't the MSRP. The 5070 wasn't. The MSRP is fake. We know it's not going to cost that much. It doesn't matter what they say it's going to cost. It'll be more. So let's pretend. Well, let's say it's £270. Now you're competing against the B580, which is a 12 gig graphics card. So you've lost already.
There you go.
Instantly lost.
B580, 12 quid, £204.
Instantly lost. Yeah.
That's also £204 delivered new.
Yeah. That's it. So like so now the 5060 is going to have to somehow curb stomp a 5080. And with 8 gigs of VRAM, even
B580.
B580, sorry, yeah.
Not a 5080.
Yeah. B580. So even if the 5060 has enough compute to demolish the B580, it's going to be completely kneecapped by that 8 gig of VRAM. Because that's what happened to the 5070 8 gig. Sorry, the 5060 Ti 8 gig.
Yeah.
Is that it had decent compute, but it's completely kneecapped by the VRAM.
Yeah.
So and that's the issue, is that the amount of compute it has is what is inflating the price of it, but it doesn't have the VRAM to actually leverage that compute. It runs out of memory before it can actually stretch its legs.
I would legitimately buy this.
Yeah, 200 quid for a B5. Yeah, like, how old is it? Wasn't a B580 like 260 quid last week?
Yeah. It's B grade, which
Oh,
will
B
mean the
grade.
box is damaged.
Okay, yeah. So again, even still, even if we pretend that's 260, even if we pretend it's £270,
Yeah.
it's still going to beat the 5060 because it's got 12 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah.
So even if we
B grade limited edition for 230.
yeah, even if we compare it,
Yeah, there you go.
in the worst case scenario, it still loses.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Yeah, the 5060 is apparently going to be 12 to 25% faster than the 4060. Let's follow that train of thought. How does the 4060 compare against the B580?
There's the B580.
Yeah. Where's the 4060 in comparison to that?
The 4060 is 88%, so 12% slower.
12% slower. So yeah. So if the 5060 is 20 to 25% faster, it will theoretically come in a bit above the B580.
Yeah, 20% faster would take you to approximately the 5060 Ti 8 gig.
So if we assume that it
which
comes
they
in,
wouldn't allow to happen. They wouldn't allow the 5060 to be the same speed as the 5060 Ti.
yeah. So
it's going to be less than 20%.
yeah. So let's pretend that it comes in at, say, 10% faster than a 5080 or something like that. it's going to be still in the same category. And again, the B5080 is going to immediately curb stomp it because of the VRAM. It's not going to be able to escape that.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. Like, if you're playing indie games, sure, it's not going to matter. But if you're doing something that's actually remotely graphically intensive, it's immediately going to fall apart. And like, and this can happen. I think even at 1080p, this can be a problem.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a problem at 1080p
That's
in
it.
multiple games.
And in addition to that, comparing it at 1080p is generous, but also, like, for devil's advocate, sure, yeah, 1080p is bad. Hardware Unboxed have also pointed out that 1440p monitors are less than $200 now, and so we're getting to the point where really 1080p is fast becoming irrelevant because 1440p is sub $200. So people are moving up to 1440p, and at that point, your 8 gigs of RAM isn't just insufficient; it's comical.
It's also the fact of 8 gig cards are 13 years old.
Yeah.
8 gig GPUs are 13 years old. We should be past this now.
Yeah. General public will buy NVIDIA at any price point over AMD or Intel. Yeah, and that's the thing. They've got to stop. This is why we're driving this message so hard. Because that sentiment of you can't go wrong with NVIDIA, actually you can. In the year 2025, NVIDIA is objectively a bad purchase. The only time when it makes sense is if money is no object and you're buying a 5090 because you want to buy the fastest consumer graphics card on the planet, in which case, fine, the 5090 is the fastest consumer graphics card on the planet. You win, Or if you find like a 5080 at MSRP, I overheard someone last night say they'd managed to get one at MSRP, sure. But, I mean, let's hit up Scan now. How much is Scan charging for a 5080? Do they even have one?
1200.
Okay, yeah.
1100 for the palette one.
You know what? Fair play. That's not terrible. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll concede that point. That's not a bad deal.
In stock, yeah, 1100.
You know what? I'll concede that point. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah. It's certainly getting there.
Yeah, that's a lot better than it was. I think America isn't looking too clever right now because of the tariffs, but in UK graphics card prices are actually not horrendous. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, so the 5080 kind of makes sense, I guess. So yeah, what about the 5070 Ti then? Yeah, the 5070 Ti.
The 5070 Ti, dependent on pricing.
Yeah.
Is what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Because the 5070 Ti versus the 9070 XT depends entirely on pricing.
Yeah. So the 9070 XT that's about the same speed as a 5070.
It's 5% slower.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So in stock, it's 780 for a 5070 XT. Nope. For a 5070 Ti,
yeah, it's
780. For a 9070 XT in stock, you're looking at 709.
Yeah.
680 in stock.
Yeah, it's about £100 difference.
So you're looking at about £100 cheaper for 5% performance.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's more than 5% price difference.
So the NVIDIA stack in the UK, it's not bonkers.
Yeah, it need to be 715.
Yeah, it's not bonkers, and if it weren't for the fact that NVIDIA were kind of taking the piss with the bottom end of the stack, and if it weren't for the fact that their drivers are currently a mess, this would be forgivable, and I would walk back slightly. However, their drivers are a mess, and the bottom end of their stack is nothing short of an insult. And that sours my opinion of the higher end of the stack.
Yeah.
So it means that, in order to justify that £100 premium for the 5070 Ti, you need to have some good faith. And NVIDIA doesn't have that right now.
Yeah.
Last year, NVIDIA had the good faith because people were willing to pay a premium for the NVIDIA card because you got DLSS and all the bells and whistles. They don't have that this year.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That good faith is gone.
Yeah.
However, I will concede it's not as bad as I thought it was. I'll concede that. I thought it was worse than that.
Yeah, but it's still also the fact.
I thought a 5080 was going to run you more like 1,400 quid.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1080p is still fine for many. It is, but you know, you can buy a 1440p monitor for £150. You know, that's the problem. I'm not saying that 1080p is bad per se, but you can get better for not very much money. You know, this is the still fine for many argument really frustrates me, because I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying you can get something better for very little more. You know, this is kind of the argument that we see with this happens all the time in the Discord, where people go, "Oh, I've got a laptop with a 4th gen Intel processor or a 6th gen Intel processor. It's still just fine." And we're like, yeah, but you can buy a Latitude with a 10th gen processor for £150. So why would you have the slower processor when the faster one is not a lot of money when you're paying for a laptop, you know? So that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know,
and as JD says, fine for many means we're not progressing. We're not getting better.
That's it. Like 1080p has been the standard for a decade and change. So
more than that.
Yeah, it's about time that 1440p was standard. And, you know, like I say...
Well, based off of the scaling that we had in the early 2000s on resolutions, we should already be well past 4K.
Although, obviously, it's complicated as to why it's not as simple as that.
Yeah,
however,
but based on the scaling that we used to have,
Yeah.
the rate of progression of resolution and so on that we used to have,
Yeah.
we'd be well past 4K by now. But there are so many people who are still like, no, 1080p is more than enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, or we could make things better.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
We
just
could demand things improve when they charge us more money.
Yeah, like, if I play a game on a 1080p monitor, I can enjoy the game. Not saying it looks bad. This is fine, you know. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying 1080p is trash. That's not my message here. What I'm saying is that we can ask for more. We can ask for better. And better is affordable, you know. Now, sure, if your budget is zero, you know, if you're trying to build a gaming rig for 300 quid, yeah, okay, 1080p. But, yeah, this is the thing, though. You know, you can buy a 1440p monitor for 150 quid, probably $150. So why would you be aiming for 1080p when 1440p is that close, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing. That's just it, I think. High refresh rates, better than high resolutions.
Sure, but if you can't drive 1440p at 120 hertz, something's gone wrong.
Yeah. Also, though, I think that's going to come down to what you're after, I guess.
And also, the other way round is you could get a 4K monitor that does 240 hertz. Play it 1080p on it at 240 hertz.
Yeah. Also,
if you don't have the GPU for 4K at 240 hertz.
Yeah. The other
because
thing,
you'll have 1-to-1 perfect pixel scaling.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that I think most of those, like, do a quick check now. What cheapest 1440p monitor? I'd wager it's 120 hertz.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly.
So, you know, like, we can have both, you know. And also, like, I know 120 hertz isn't particularly fast by modern standards, but it's still double 60 hertz, which is enough that you're going to feel it, you know.
1440p monitor, 150 quid, 180 hertz.
Yeah, look at that.
Hertz,
and that's a Lenovo Legion.
A random 100 hertz one, 144 hertz, 180 hertz.
Yeah.
180 hertz, 180 hertz.
Now, again,
180 hertz.
Just to clarify, I know I'm speaking from a position of privilege where I'd be like, it's only 150 quid. Maybe 150 quid is a lot of money to you. I can respect that. I understand that.
Sure.
But
absolutely,
also,
but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't want new stuff to be better.
That's it. But also, like, a decent 1080p monitor is going to cost you, you know, 80 quid. So we are talking nearly twice the price. But when we're talking about the scale, so again, it depends on your budget. If you're low budget gaming, sure, you're probably going to be gaming at 1080p. But most people are aiming to spend between 500 and £1,000 on their gaming PC. I think that's a reasonable assumption to make.
Yeah.
Most people are spending between 500 and £1,000. And at that point, going from £80 or £90 for the monitor to 150, that's not a big stretch.
You have to go to 130 to get above 100 hertz at 1080p anyway.
Yeah.
There we go. There's 180 hertz at £109. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, Mike says, I think 1080p is still the gold standard. A lot of people running 1440p or higher will likely be using scaling or frame gen.
Sure, but you're still using
Possibly.
a 1440p monitor.
Yeah. You can, even if you're using scaling or frame gen, you're still attaining that higher resolution. And, scaling is good enough that it gives you a completely passable picture now. So in which case, yeah, you get the effect of a bigger resolution. So, yeah.
Yeah. But also, this is all stating that new stuff should be better.
Yeah.
New stuff should be good.
Exactly.
If you're saying, I don't have the money for the new stuff, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can
no
buy
shade.
something that's second hand. But what we're saying is that for the people who are buying new stuff, the new stuff should be better, because then that will benefit you when it becomes second hand, because it will be better instead of being the same 15-year-old resolution.
Yeah. That's it.
I don't understand people who argue against themselves getting something better when they purchase it.
Yeah.
I don't get people who seem to say, oh, well, it's been perfectly fine for 15 years,
That's
so it
the
should stay
thing.
the same.
Yeah.
No, it should have got better in those 15 years.
Yeah.
Things should have improved. That's the point we're making.
That's it. So, like,
the point we're making is that stuff needs to be getting better. It should be improving.
yeah. So, like, again, we don't want to be. We're not trying to beat people. We're not trying to punch down here. I want to make that clear.
Yeah,
But-
I'm not saying what you have is bad. I'm saying
Yeah.
that new stuff should be better than what people currently have.
Yeah,
That's
that-
the point in it being
yeah.
new.
That's definitely the takeaway I want people to get out of this, because we're being fairly angry about this, but that's because Nvidia is telling us that 1080p is fine, and it's just like, no, Nvidia is all, you've been like, what the hell happened to RTX on and making it look better and ray tracing this and that, and now you're telling us that 8 gigs of VRAM at 1080p is all we need,
Which then means you can't run ray tracing, can't run frame gen,
yeah.
because you haven't got the VRAM to
That's
play the
it.
game in the first place.
What happened to making things better?
Is
Yeah.
4K better than 2K? Yes.
In that it's higher, yeah.
It's a higher resolution.
That's it.
It's sharper. It looks better.
Yeah, like there's a conversation as to whether we should aim for 4K or not.
Yes. It's 2025. New
Yeah.
stuff should be better.
That's true. And actually, yeah, okay. So actually, just to elaborate on this, for a long time I've said, oh, don't worry about 4K. It's quite difficult to drive stuff at 4K. I don't think 4K is reasonable to assume. However, when you look at a lot of hardware unboxed, the hardware unboxed reviews, mid-range cards can do 4K. 4K is entirely doable.
That's also my point of
yeah,
new stuff
Yeah.
should be better.
Yep.
If a 5070 can't do 4K, you should be demanding that it does.
Hmm.
Not accepting that it's a 1440p monitor.
Yeah.
You should be demanding that it's a 4K. 4K is better if you don't need to wear glasses. No, it's better in every circumstance because the pixels are smaller.
Yeah, high detail.
It means that you can have better quality scaling, so you can make stuff larger
Hmm.
and still maintain the quality.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people legitimately
Also,
have...
no native OLED 1080p monitors. Yeah, and there probably never will be.
No.
Because 1080p is a 15-year-old resolution.
Yeah. Why on earth would you buy OLED at 1080p? You're buying a fancy new monitor and you're buying 1080p. Yeah, that's not the thing. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, in a way, it's kind of surprising that we managed to get 1440p OLEDs. And because that's what I wanted for a long time. But already I'm at the point where I'm just like, yeah, no, my next monitor is going to be a 4K OLED.
I can't see why you
Yeah.
wouldn't use a 4K monitor.
Yeah. For a long time, I was just like, nope, 1440p is fine. I'm quite happy at 1440p. But, but I'm like, in this day and age, I'm like, no, 4K is going to be my next upgrade.
Yeah.
I won't be buying another 1440p monitor. Not to say that 1440p is bad. I have 1440p at the moment, and I like it. But 4K is very attainable. So if I'm going to splash out on new screens, yeah, I'm probably going to buy 4K.
Yeah. And it's also the fact of, if you can't run your game at 165 hertz at 4K, you can run it with DLSS or FSR,
Yeah.
outputting to a 4K
Can
resolution,
you just make sure I don't sweep my mug off the table? Thank God.
and
Yeah.
it will look good.
Yeah.
Not 1440p ultra wide. No.
No, ultra wide is a choice, and I can respect that choice, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I have no. Objective arguments against ultra widescreen. I just don't find it useful myself.
Yeah.
Like hell, I'm a 16 by 10 fanboy, but if you demand 16 by 10, you limit your options a lot. So
There are no properly high refresh rate 16 by 10 monitors.
Yeah.
I think Dell have released a 75 hertz one at long last, but it's like, woohoo, 75 hertz.
yeah,
Guess what? The rest of the world's on 240 hertz
yeah,
now.
like 16.
Or more.
Yeah, 16 by 10 continues to be incredibly underrated. But yeah, unfortunately, if you demand 16 by 10, then you're going to limit your options. So I will settle for 16 by 9. However, ultra wide is going the opposite direction to that. The only time ultra wide would make sense to me, I think the only time ultra wide makes sense is if you went to like the super ultra wide, where you have two 16 by 9 side by side, because then you've effectively got dual screen in a single monitor.
Yeah.
But even then,
then,
having two separate screens generally gives you more utility, because you can take one screen with you and things like that.
It's also the thing I find for most of those is they only have a vertical resolution of 1080p, maybe 1440p.
Yeah, you can get the 1440p.
And it's just like, cool.
Size ones.
But now I'm at a pixel density of like 80, which
Yeah.
is a 55-inch 4K TV level of DPI.
Yeah. Ultra wide seems perfect for simulators, driving or flying. I can believe there's uses for it, yeah. And like I think the last time I was at a LAN party, last time I was at JLAN, there was someone there with an ultra wide, and I think it was the first time I'd sort of actually sat and looked at an ultra wide kind of thing. And I can't remember what game they were playing, but they were playing something where the ultra wide really made sense because it moved UI elements out of the main field of view, kind of thing, like the mini map and stuff like that. And sort of I looked over their shoulder and I was like, yeah, that looks really good, you know. However, even when I spoke to them, they were just like, yeah, it's kind of situational. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's just not helpful, you know, because sometimes it moves all your UI stuff out of your field of view, which means you have to turn your head to see things, which is now objectively less helpful because your eyes are having to move further away from the action to see the UI, which in a game is bad, you know.
Yeah.
To a certain extent in the game, you need to move information into the center of vision. But it's a balancing act. But yeah, however, certain games, though, moving all of that stuff out of the way is useful, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 16 by 10 still confuses many as black bars with video and gamers not. Yeah, that's the problem. But most games have no issues with 16 by 10. And just, 16 by 10 just looks objectively better. Hell, laptops have taken a swing back to 16 by 10.
Or 3 by 2.
Yeah. Are you sure that's the BIOS update flash drive?
Isn't it?
How on earth did I give you that one? I didn't mean to give you that one.
I thought it was.
Oh. It's
Or is
probably
it that
this
one?
one. Yeah. Because I was going to say, that's supposed to be memtest.
I think I thought I picked it up and popped it down in front of me.
Yeah.
I must have popped it in front of you. And thus confused myself.
There's the keyboard. All right.
We will have to do this via capture as there is a lack of monitor.
Yes. So let's grab le capture. Ah. It's been emotional.
On the stand.
Yes, I was. I saw another grey cable. I was like, which one is that one? That's Benchcam.
I will plug this USB cable into my HDMI port.
HDMI in. Got. I got it. Okay.
Did it.
Cool. All right. Prepare the capture.
Punch it. Wait, where'd OBS go? There.
Ultra wide is awesome for video editing. Yeah, I could see that being a thing. I do want to try out ultra wide at some point because I've never actually used one. You know, like I say, I've got no major shade with ultra wide. I just don't believe I'm not compelled enough to invest in one.
Huh?
Oh, did I turn the keyboard on? I did.
Did it?
I think console gaming is slowly dying. I don't know. It has felt like this generation has been a bit weak.
There you go. CPU memory change. Press F1 to run setup.
F1. Thank you. Yeah, I think this generation has been a bit weak just because of a lack of games. It feels like there's no game. It feels like there's not a lot of blockbusters right now. You know, there's not a lot of games out on like blockbuster console releases that people care about. It seems. I need to sit down, but I think I'm gonna. Okay, I live here now. Hello.
Am I now finding out that I actually forgot to lock my car? By the fact that my car is now 100 miles away from here.
I see. Where are we at? Footy's finished. Right, we have just posted. Can we have capture with face cam instead?
Oh, okay.
I
was
yeah,
just
that's,
about to just go.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, right, let's see. M-Flash.
Search. No, wait, that's 10 people. Never mind.
You got stuck between doing Flash Gordon and
No,
M people then.
I was going for search for the hero.
Oh, okay.
But, you know.
Search. Oh.
Surge. There we go.
Alright.
Please do the E7D9AIMS.HBO.
Right, let's see. We're going from a early 24. Surprisingly out of date, this BIOS. Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it's probably sat on a shelf for months.
Yeah, I guess.
So who's buying Intel motherboards?
Yeah, maybe.
Who's buying Intel motherboards with 2 USB 3?
Yeah. Whack.
I, for a fraction of a second, didn't realise there was a Fahrenheit temperature there and thought there was 2 Celsiuses. And I was like, why is something at 84C? Uh-oh.
Got to get that opportunistic boost. That's a really fast BIOS update, though.
At 2.5 volts. My V-Core is at 2 volts.
Ugh. I was watching Katrina's unboxing video the other day, and she unboxed a couple of retro CPUs that were sort of like 486 Pentium 1 era, and they were like sort of 130 megahertz or something like that at like 2.7 volts kind of thing. And I'm just like, yes, of course, you know.
This is my 7-volt V-Core CPU.
Mm-hmm. Bang. Oh, I forgot to put case fans in. Yeah.
Are you actually going to put any case fans in this?
I don't know. It doesn't need them.
Because it has 3 front.
Yeah, I'll check in with the customer again. I'll be like, look, you bought these case fans, but it doesn't need them. I can put one on the back and a bunch on the top if you want. We can deck it out for the sake of decking it out, but
it will just make your PC noisy.
It will just make the PC louder. Yeah.
There we go.
Huzzah!
Excellent.
Excellent. We're no longer exploding, so
enable
I will
XMP.
And oh my god, please. Is that off? And XMP off. Okay, there we go. I should have just gone to advanced. I hate this interface. All right, there we go. I guess let's just bash in a dirty fan. Well, actually, I'll put it on the silent fan profile. Oh my god, I'm going into advanced mode because this is trash. Advanced. Okay, thank you. Right.
I see.
Right, CPU. Oh, do they not have... Oh, they don't have presets.
What do you get on this thing here? Is that a tick box or a drop down?
That's a tick box. Yeah, so that's just whether you're controlling fan speed or not. Yeah. Yeah, MSI need to update this interface as well, just to have a couple of presets.
If you change it to PWM, do you get anything else?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be on PWM already.
Oh, you have some hysteresis.
Yeah, it's got that. It's got hysteresis.
That's
but
interesting.
Yeah, if I want anything other than default, I've got to set in a manual fan curve, which is just like, most of the time, just usually on a customer build, I would... Well, no, actually, recently I've been putting in manual fan curves, but a lot of the time I'll just set them to the silent profile, which is fine.
I don't understand their scale. Oh, I understand that scale. Because what the fuck is this scale?
Yeah, I'm what?
Your scale is, if you stop clicking, on the left 100% and on the right 15,000 RPM.
But also, it's 100. It's 90 now, but when I click on it, that's 100.
Yes.
Or is this? Oh, this is
Celsius. Wait, that's temperature. So you have temperature and RPM both on the y-axis.
Okay, look. Right, so when I click on it, it makes sense because we've got temperature at the bottom and the duty cycle on the left. When I click on it, it makes sense. So that's what we're going for. Right.
MSI, the absolute fuck is this?
At 90 degrees, I want to be at 100% fan speed. At 80 degrees, I want to be at 70%. And then we basically don't care until about 60, so we'll put that at 35 will probably do. There we go. That's a... Are
you going to drop the left one down?
20% as a minimum is fine. Yeah. That's a good... That's what I would call a dirty silent profile.
And then you can at least you can set alt set to all.
Right. All set... So, okay, right, hold on. So if I do that, it means set all of them to full speed,
yes.
Set all of them to default, and set all of them to cancel.
Oh, wait, hold on.
So
hold on.
Whatever you think those buttons are doing, the answer is no. Okay, that's fine. Right, what about the system fan?
No, you want that on CPU.
Oh, this is
That's a system fan.
Ooh, okay, system fan. There we go.
That is set to...
Smart fan. These are DC fans, so yeah, now we're doing...
Hold on.
Now we're doing voltage control.
Oh, we don't have a capture on these scenes. That's why.
Yeah, if you just split it with chat, then we can see what chat is saying, because... Yeah.
Na.
Here we go. All right. Rig looks good. Yeah, I haven't looked at it from the front yet, but I think it'll look nice. I like this case. You know, I've always liked NZXT designs.
This is very nice and square.
Yeah, it's a square box. I like NZXT design. The problem is just they've had issues with airflow.
Design.
However, yeah, whatever.
Take black rectangle.
Yeah, but I like black rectangles. However, now they've actually fixed their airflow. It's fine. Okay, right. The case fans. Let's see. So.
Oh no! Now you're controlling voltage.
Yeah, because it's a 3-pin fan. Right. Let's start from the top. So if our CPU is at 90 degrees C, we want to put everything on panic mode. Then we're going to have a massive step down now because the case fans do not need to react for a long time. So up to 80, we're now going to drop down to 5 volts.
Is the fan going to run at 5 volts?
Yeah, it will. Yeah, the fans will be good down to like... okay, I tell you, the fans will be good to like 3 volts, I think. There we go. And then we'll put in like 3 volts down to 30. And whatever. 2.5 start. There we go. Right, have we actually stalled out? Nope, we're at 470 RPM. What's our actual CPU temperature at the moment? Does it show us anywhere? CPU is at 31 degrees. Yeah, that's fine. So we're currently at 31 degrees and we're sitting at 3 volts and the fans have not stalled out. So yeah, that's fine. So that means our case fans are going to do just a little bit of airflow unless the CPU is actually hitting panic mode, and then they're going to go, okay, we need to get some air out of this case. So this gives you a bit of a noisy top end, but it means that we're quiet most of the time, and if there is a problem, they will cut in. So yeah. Isn't there motherboard software in Windows that does fan control too? Yes, but also if you do it in BIOS, it means you don't have to have the utility running in Windows. So yeah. I run aggressively quiet fan profiles because you can in most cases. So yeah, save it as a profile. I will and I shall. So yeah, right, that's our fan setup. Right, is there anything else we need to change? We've done XMP. I'll do, to be honest. I don't think there's anything else we need to change.
Not a lot, no.
Yeah. All right, I'll do. I'll send it. Set name. I'm just going to call that Adamant IT. Did I spell that right? Adamant IT. Yes. There we go. Save. There we go.
F10.
Update BIOS. We just did that. So yeah, we have already updated the BIOS, and we're already in advanced mode. I don't know what stream people are watching, where they didn't watch us update the BIOS and then go into advanced mode. So yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see. Right, I'm going to save and exit this.
Whoop. You wish to do all of these things.
Yes. Okay. Right. Model Citizen says Fantex XT Pro would be a great for one of the budget options. Let's take a look.
Fantex.
Pahantex.
Pro. Pahantex.
Ah.
I see. Ah!
Do you want to bring up the Fantex website so we get some hero photos?
I didn't realise that was shopping. I thought that was images. So I was just like, oh yes, images.
Yeah. Stick it on desktop capture so people can see what we're looking at as well. Oh, do we have a desktop capture?
We do not have a desktop capture.
All right, you guys don't get to see this.
Oh.
Here's some mesh.
Mesh! Spacious, powerful, affordable.
Cool. Yeah, that looks nice. How much is it?
80 quid from AWD.
With that's
60
the
quid
RGB
from
version.
Box.
What's that £42 version from Idea then?
That's this, which is finding it from Novatech,
Oh, I see. They're an aggregator. Yeah. So
which
yeah,
actually is £55.
yeah. So £55 with nothing in it, and then what was it, like 80 quid for the? 80
Yeah.
quid for the RGB version.
Amazon says 82
Oh,
pound.
they've got a solid panel version of it as well, which is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Apparently it's made out of ABS plastic.
Very nice. Has Amazon got the RGB version?
Oh. Okay. Not as a version of this item,
Yeah.
however. In white.
Yeah, sure. Let's just click on that just to have a look.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. The RGB version is the Pro Ultra, apparently.
Yeah, and the black one is more expensive for some reason or other. It looks nice.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I dig it.
Not massively budget.
Yeah, well, the no fans is budget. They're charging quite a lot for the RGB version, but the no fans version
It's got at least one fan in it.
yeah, sure, okay, but like the non-fancy version, you get the
Yeah.
point, you know. I'm assuming that comes with nothing on the front anyway. It's got like just Atto congestion fan in it.
Not
Is
bad.
that only a single USB
It's only
port?
got a single.
Yeah.
It's only a single Type A though.
Yeah, it's got a Type C at least, but so that's fine.
Oh, that's a reset. Is that a reset button?
I think so. Yeah. It's not going to be a microphone jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got a reset button as well, which is nice. Yeah, that seems all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meshify 3 looks nice as well. I saw some. What were people angry about with the Meshify 3? I saw someone saying, "Oh,
It's kind of expensive.
yeah, is it expensive? Yeah. How
Yeah.
much is it?"
I don't actually know, but it was somewhat expensive.
Yeah. This is the Fantex XT Pro we were talking about.
Yes.
But yeah. Yeah, normally the white one would be more expensive. I agree. Sorry, I'm just coming around to look at this computer. Yeah, it looks alright.
Meshify 3.
The case is very excessive. It's supposed to have a massive amount of water cooling in the bottom.
The Meshify 3 Lite, no RGB, but fans, is 130 quid.
Oh, wow.
The full, absolutely everythingness is like, 210, I think.
What are you doing, Fractal? Like, serious question, what are you doing? Like, there's no planet where that case is worth £130. Yeah, no. Like, the Fractal Pop Air was way cheaper than that. What's their plan? I see they've got a load of removable parts, but
Yeah.
sure. That's a tough sell, man. I know Fractal are a bit of a boutique brand, but that's not a boutique case. Like, the Torrent and the North and cases like that, they kind of get away with having a premium price tag because they're boutique cases with a fancy name. But the Meshify 3, that's a meta case. It's just like the Fractal Pop Air. It's just a meta case. It's an airflow case. Like, no, you're competing with £70 cases.
Yeah. It certainly seems to be a very good case for cooling performance and stuff.
Subsidizing the American market. You might be right, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But based off of the GN review, certainly very performant for cooling. Based off of Wendell's
Sure.
video,
but
solidly nice case.
So's the Corsair 4000D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's just, there's nothing wrong with the case.
Yeah.
It's just pricey.
Yeah,
But it's also kind of a case of so's everything that gets launched now. If there's going to be 150% tariffs on your largest market, your price is going to be high.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
But
I guess that makes it slightly more understandable. That makes it slightly more understandable. But my response remains the same. Of no.
Yeah.
Or that is to say, like, I'm not paying that.
Yeah, he's solidly in the category of just no. Not until it comes down in price.
Yeah.
But,
no one is going to buy that case at that price.
Yeah.
I mean, unless everyone else's prices have gone up in the US, but in the UK, a decent brand, a premium brand airflow case does not cost £130.
How much is?
Yeah, Lianli has very nice micro. I like Lianli. I really want to buy one of them, a modern Lianli again. But also Lianli, I think the Lianlis are a little bit pricey as well.
Is that the one I want? Yeah, the fully Corsair RGB one is the RSA RGB, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still 85 quid.
85 quid with RGB.
Yeah.
And that's with Corsair RGB. So yeah, immediately that kills the Meshify 3 dead. You're done.
Oh! Oh!
And without fans, you can get it for 70 quid. This is the thing. Why the fuck would you buy a Meshify 3 when you can buy a Frame 4000 for £70 no fans, or what was it, 80 quid with RGB? Or was it 85? 85 with RGB. Why on earth would you buy a Meshify 3 when that exists? There's no reason. No reason whatsoever. And this is why that £1,000 AM5 build that we were doing last week, that's getting built in a 4000D.
The only problem I have with it is bottom front I/O.
Yeah, sure.
But that makes sense for people who put it on their desk.
Yeah, and that's not a deal breaker to me. Even on a desk, I'd still rather it be up the top. But it's not a deal breaker for me,
Are the feet actually that big? Because they look like they're 50 or 60 mil. That'll be interesting to see if they are that big.
Yeah.
Because then that means there could be actual airflow through.
Oh
the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. No, I think it had decent ground clearance because
kinda cool.
a lot of cases are moving in a direction of a bottom intake. Even though this one doesn't have a low intake, but it's got that vented PSU shroud. You know, it has aspirations of having a bottom intake. I think you can configure it for a low intake. Because like that's kind of the point of the 4000D is that it's a multi-role case. You can configure it in a lot of different ways. But yeah, Meshify 3 is dead on arrival except for fanboys buying them because Gamers Nexus said to. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. If you're a Fractal fanboy, you're not buying a Meshify. You're going to buy a Fractal North or something like that. You know, like I own a Fractal Torrent. I like Fractal, but like. When I buy a Fractal, I want the North. I want one of the named cases because they look pretty. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the look of the Meshify, but I like the look of the Meshify as a replacement for the Pop Air because I really liked the Fractal Pop Air. Because again, that was an RGB case that was sub £100 with a premium brand name on it. But the problem is the stock for the Pop Air has been really weird for a while. Just sometimes it's available and sometimes it's not.
85 quid for the
there you go.
XL.
Yeah, eBuyer have got the
eBuyer out of stock.
Oh, out of stock.
CCL for 86 quid.
Stock is stock is hit and miss, but the point is that's a premium Fractal branded case for sub £100. Again, why would you buy the Meshify when that exists?
Yeah.
If you want Fractal, there's the Pop Air. You get the RGB on it. You get the Fractal brand name on it, and it's 50 quid cheaper. Yeah, I agree. I think the only reason that price could exist is they're subsidising the tariffs. White Bear says, the only Fractal case I've owned are the Define R5s. Yeah, I think the Defines are overrated, personally, because they come from the era before Airflow. But I do get the appeal of them because they were big, sturdy cases with room for lots of hard drives and stuff. So it's not... I don't like the Define, but I understand why people...
Sure.
I understand why other people like the Define. You know?
Sure, I guess.
Not my cup of tea, but I get why people like it. The price is from January. It isn't even a tariff price. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tariffs are down at the moment, but maybe it's uncertain. Maybe they're just... I mean, I tell you what we might see is we might see the Meshify having a ridiculous MSRP on it, but they're just going to slash the price of it once they actually know what the tariffs look like long term. Maybe they're just setting the MSRP.
Yeah, but also, as
high,
JD says,
just in
it was
case.
pre-tariff, but holding those prices now is obviously a case of that's certainly going to be a factor on it.
Yeah,
But
I thought the Meshify 3 had only just been released. I thought like it.
Yeah, but it should have come out in January. They delayed the launch because of a manufacturing issue.
Oh, I see.
Because they made it so you couldn't put PCIe devices into the PCIe slots.
Good job. Yeah. Well, still, I mean, they probably changed the price at the last minute because, you know.
Yeah, but they released the MSRP to reviewers.
Oh, I see. Yeah, and the MSRP was that
the same as it is now.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, that Height Y70. Yeah. With the touchscreen, £378. Ugh.
Yeah. With the touchscreen.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that ridiculous.
Yeah.
Assuming they've done
Well,
all
I
of
don't know. Like,
assuming they've done all of the development stuff and so on to make it, very plug and play, easy.
Yeah, as long as it comes with all the software, and like that software better be able to do all the thermal monitoring and stuff like that as well. Like if you've got to buy like what's the monitoring software people use for a lot of LCDs? I forget the name of it, but there's that. Yeah, there's the common monitoring software that drives LCDs and such. If you've got to buy a license for that as well, then that's even then I still think that's a lot. Like an expensive case is say £200, so you're paying 180 quid for that LCD. Yeah. So I still think even factoring in the development cost and the software, that's a tough sell to me. Yeah. Tariffs are down for 3 months, which is a lot longer than they were raised for. Yeah, they're down for 3 months, and then what? This is the problem: is the uncertainty.
The problem isn't the tariff. The problem isn't a change in the tariff. The problem is the process which has been used to change the tariff, the rate at which they are changing, and the lack of certainty in the market.
Yeah.
And anyone who is doing any sort of future speculation hates uncertainty.
Yeah.
Hates any degree of change in the market.
Yeah.
Because if
can't
you've got a
plan.
dead certain market, if you know everything is going to stay the same,
Yeah.
you might be able to operate on a 1.5% margin. Because you are shifting 10 billion units.
Yeah.
And 10 billion units at 1.5% margin is absolutely fine and suitably profitable. But if that pricing is possibly going to swing by 1%, you now have no margin, you now lose money.
Yeah.
So if there's uncertainty in the market and the price changes, you can't bet on that, so you now have to build in a 50% margin. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all to do with uncertainty, not what the tariff is this second.
Yeah,
It's the mechanism
absolutely.
that was used to impose the tariff and the arguably almost capricious nature of the application. So yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of like touchscreen on case is ridiculous. Yeah, I like the idea of the screen on the case. I don't think it needs to be a touch screen, but then on the other hand, I don't think adding touch to it is actually making it meaningfully more expensive. I think
It
that's
probably doesn't change it
no,
at all.
I don't think that makes much of a difference.
It just,
And-
is an additional feature.
Yeah, I think the only time, so I like the idea of having the screen on the case because it's a showpiece. That's cool, and like this is a case. This is a boutique case. It's designed to sit on a desk and look cool. So
Yeah.
putting a big old screen on it looks cool. So that makes sense. And like I'm also someone I've got a 10-inch touchscreen below my dual monitor setup. Now I don't use the touch on it at all in the slightest because I just move my mouse cursor down to it. But what I use it for, I have Discord on that screen. So when I'm in a Discord call, the Discord call is visible and I can see people joining and leaving the call while I've got other stuff on my screens. And also, like, if someone is streaming in the Discord call, I can have their stream open on that screen. So having that little mini screen down there is actually kind of cool because I don't waste the rest of my screen real estate on the Discord call. So having a touch screen on it, that would be cool if, like, you've got like your computer stats and look pretty, but then when you're in the Discord call, you could tap to look at to have the call on screen. But then also, like, at that point, now I've got to go to look at it, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not sure, apart from for the purposes of showcase, like when someone goes, wow, look, you've got a screen in your computer, you can be like, look, and you can touch it and have it show different screens. It's cool for that purposes, but I can't think of an actual real life use for the touchscreen angle.
I think having it so just tapping the screen changes the stats that are displayed is kind of handy.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because
Yeah,
if
you can just go. Poof.
Because if your full screen game,
Yeah,
keyboard and mouse input is locked into the game, but you tap on it and it changes what's on there
yeah,
without interrupting the game, that's kind of handy.
yeah. On the flip side, though, I'm just like, if you're any kind of serious gamer, you're running dual screen in borderless windowed mode, so that's not a problem. You run borderless windowed mode, right?
No, I run exclusive full screen and everything.
You disgust me. Are you running? Well, hang on. What's your setup? Are you still running the TV?
Yes.
Yeah. Huh.
Gives me more performance. Of course I'm going to run exclusive full screen.
Sure. But, like, do you have a laptop next to you as well?
No, I don't need a laptop.
Oh. You have ADHD. How do you run exclusive full screen, you know?
Because I play a game
How do you focus on one thing?
with my brain,
Oh,
my brain juices.
yeah, no. I've got to have 3 things open. Yeah. Carrie just raw dogs his games. Yeah, all right.
Have you considered drugs?
Maybe. I'll think about it. Also,
like
can you
some
look
meth?
up the... Maybe.
Would you like some meth neth?
Could you look up the Lian Li 207 digital? I want to see what that looks like, because I don't think I've seen that. And like, I have interest in the modern Lian Lis.
There is no stock.
115, yeah. Well, oh, I see. It's got a little screen down the bottom.
Whack. Okay.
It's kind of neat. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Very well.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
kind of like that.
Yeah, I prefer the screen to be on the side panel rather than on the front of the computer. But it looks like a cool. It looks like a cool integration, and like for 100, it looks like 115 quid is pretty reasonable for that.
This case is compatible with my basket.
Thank God. Yeah. Oh, you've got a load of stuff in your basket though. Yeah.
Yes, a B650 Eagle AX, a Thermalright
Yeah.
Peerless Assassin, and a fan.
Yeah. The new 217 with the wood is new. Oh, can we look that up as
217 with
well?
the wood?
Yeah. Apparently, Lianli have decided to knock off the Fractal North.
Wood.
Fractal have already done a wood case, so no one is allowed to do wood without just
Oh.
ripping off Fractal now. But yes.
Oh. I see. Very well. I see.
That looks neat. Yeah, that is a shameless Fractal North rip-off. But also, as I say many a time, when someone rocks up to the party with a second cake, I don't complain. I say, awesome, more cake. And so, yeah, how much is it? Yeah, the Fractal North is...
I don't know, because it looks like it's literally just been announced.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's not available yet.
$80 says Gamers Nexus.
Ah, looks pretty good, yeah. What's the going rate for a Fractal North these days? Because that's what it's competing against. I think the Fractal North looks nicer, but if the Fractal North is like 150
North.
quid...
Oh, there's an XL version of the North as well.
Yeah, because the standard North is a compact case.
125, 130.
Yeah.
Depending on whether you want dark wood or light wood.
Yeah,
If you're preferable to your wood colours.
Yeah, so the Lianli is a better value proposition by the looks of things, but it doesn't quite have the same look, I don't think. Oh, just small chat.
Someone said how far is the monitor from Caradog, and I went that far.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think they're talking
So it's
about
being
when
unhelpful.
Yeah, I think they're talking about when you're sitting in front of your TV at home.
About 1.5 meters.
Yeah, you'd have to be, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I have eyes. They swivel.
Yeah, your head's gonna need to swivel. Like if you're sitting in front of a TV at 1 meter, you're gonna be going, oh, you know.
It's not a 77-inch. It's only 55.
Yeah. All right. Asus are doing wood for their Pro Art cases. Fair.
I did get it out of the box when I got the TV and go.
What's our stream time on?
It isn't just a few inches larger than dual 32-inch monitors, is it? Oops. Our stream timer is 3 hours 15.
Oh wow, yeah.
I guess.
It took
3 hours 26.
Yeah, it took me bloody hell, yeah. It took me approximately 2 hours too long to build this heckin' computer.
Yes.
All right, well, I've enjoyed this conversation in English then. Yeah.
Indeed.
Are you or the buyer doing the peel? I might leave this one to the customer, but also like this one needs a couple of fettling. Like we need to talk about that graphics card because the graphics card is just like if they're doing stuff that requires CUDA, then fine, use that card. But if they're not doing anything that requires CUDA, the card is just objectively not a great buy. But also they might turn around and be like, I don't mind, that's the one we chose, just put the card in the case. And I'd be like, okay.
Are you going to tell them they're wrong? Are you willing to have that gumption?
I'm going to say to them, I don't think this card was a good value proposition because it's only 8 gigs of RAM, which is not enough.
Yes.
However, it's going to work, so it's up to them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I can fashion it so it doesn't. There'll be one fewer 8GB graphics cards in the world. This will be a net positive. Violence!
We have made our point about 8GB VRAM graphics cards these days in this stream. Thank you everyone for watching. I might be streaming tomorrow, but I'm going to a barbecue and I don't know when I'll be home. So tomorrow's Twitch stream may or may not be on. There will be updates in the Discord as to whether it is on or not. So check the Discord. Otherwise, we'll see you next week with something else.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Goodbye.